We have music now?
Oh, the old music. I remember the music.
Sweet.
Sweet. It sounds like you're playing it through a tin can. Jeez.
I am.
Make sure the string doesn't get broken.
From Earth to the moon.
I believe I heard this on another YouTube channel recently, this song.
Those dirty bastards.
I
only wrote half of it.
I always thought it sounds like the guitar riff from like the Mysterious Stranger in Fallout.
Well, anyways, if you haven't guessed, we're Midnight Chapter Dark right now. Welcome to yet another show. It's Saturday. It's about 9:10 on the East Coast. How's everybody doing? With me as always, joining me from Shabby Road Studios. With me as always is Mr. Tom Connors.
I'm doing okay, except for we had a major bombshell hit us. We'll get into that though.
Yes, we did. And joining us is the ever lovely and vivacious Mecha Random.
Hello.
And with us once again, hello to you. With us once again is Mr. Tyler Bioshock.
Good day, sunshine.
Tyler Bioshock Bender Rodriguez.
I told you not to call me that on air.
Like, bite me.
I'm the only one who actually can say bite my shiny metal ass.
Yes, because
you guys can't.
We're just gonna call you the busty one, right?
Yeah, we have to change your gender fluid every 3,000 miles, though.
What does it sound like when you're just running out? It's like it just like your body starts shutting down. It's like oh, fluids running low.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay.
That's what Mountain Dew is for.
Yeah.
That's what I knew it all is long.
A lot of caffeine in Mountain Dew.
Yes, that's the secret.
And it could render you sterile, from what I heard.
Oh wow! Thank you, Joker.
Good.
It's the best Saturday Night Live to watch.
Well, there goes my kids.
Yeah.
That says a lot.
So anyway, yes, we had a major bombshell actually drop just today. If you didn't see the video, yes, Grover does say the F word. No, that's not it. No, nobody.
Nobody did not.
That's mean to talk about call Tilly Grover.
Oh.
No, I mean Grover the Muppet guy.
Oh, we discussed it a little bit.
You mean
to call Tilly a Muppet? Muppets are way smarter than that.
Oh, you mean Kathy Kennedy?
No.
Well, she has a Muppet that you can't put anything in her mouth.
Oh, Cookie. That's Cookie Monster. Grover. Oh, yes, Grover. he says, it's a fucking great idea.
He's going in the methadone attic along with Cookie Monster.
That is not what he's saying, Rob.
What is he saying then? Hey, this is a.
That sounds like a great idea, is what he's saying.
He said that's a fucking great idea. That's what I heard.
In all legitimacy, I would love to know how sound quality like that makes people hear two different things at the same time.
I don't know.
Because it's not Frank Oz. That's all I'm gonna say.
To me, it's much funnier if I think he's saying.
Well, I'm sure it's
funnier,
but I'll give you that. I could probably bring it up here and
It's like
it's a fucking great
idea. You can hear it both ways. It's like that stupid Laurel Yanni thing from a couple months ago.
Oh God. I can usually hear both though on Yanni and Laurel, depending on.
You can hear it both ways, and I don't know what the real one is on that one. I don't care. It's a bit funnier to imagine some parent flipping out, going, "Did he just say what I thought he said?"
Yes, he did.
Yeah. So anyway,
Grover's gonna say, "What the fuck are you gonna do about it?"
These are the things.
We're off the rails already.
Yeah,
this is staying in.
All right, so
here it is. Whoops. I hit the wrong button. Come on.
Are you pressing the buttons of Muppets?
I am.
Do they like it?
It just froze on me here because I'm trying to do it off my phone.
Oh, Tom's been pressing my buttons for a long.
Yes, that sounds like an excellent idea.
It sounds like an excellent idea.
It's all about the inflection. It's
anyway,
it sounds like an acronym.
Anymore. That's all.
Yes! Who the hell does the voice anymore?
Oh, yes, that's a fucking excellent idea.
That was my morning. Literally, I listened to that for 20 times and went, "Why are people doing this?"
Oh, kids gotta learn these things somewhere. They might as well learn them from Sesame Street. Hey,
But-
you don't like? Hey, fuck you. Okay.
And my family's like came from the New York, New Jersey area. Believe me, if you haven't heard this by the time you're 3, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Tyler, you're gonna kiss my ass, okay? Kiss my blue furry ass.
We already lost the family audience.
Demonetized.
They've gone to the Beatles channel because they're doing the top 100 again for the new year.
Again.
Oh, jeez.
As much as I love the Beatles, how many times can you do this list?
Well, it's Peter Asher doing it. Why not?
Oh, okay, Peter Asher. Yeah, I saw Peter Asher's house that Paul used to live in right in the middle of London, actually. Where I was.
He came to Cleveland like last November.
Mm.
I didn't see him though, sadly.
I think Gordon died. I think.
Yeah, he was in Batman once, the TV show.
No, that was Chad and Jeremy.
I thought he was part of that. Never mind. Oh, well.
Anyway, boys and girls, let's get on some Axanar news and other Star Trek news.
Yes, that's a fucking excellent idea.
Okay, Captain April. I'm sorry. My mom was the exact same way. She always said, "There's a bathroom on the right." No, it's Bad Moon on the rise.
Okay, let's get on to this. What we're here to discuss.
Well, Rob, you actually did a very excellent video along with our Midnight's Edge video we did, over a year ago now.
It was a while ago.
Excellent. Boy, are you a rotten liar.
No, it was a great video. I actually watched it again here just before. The link's down below, so when you're done, if you want to check it out. But give us kind of...
Yes! Check out that video! It's fucking great!
Yes, Grover! Check out Rob's video. I can't do this
For me, the bigger controversy is that we have a homeless Muppet. I'm like, well, what the hell was everyone's favorite garbage dumper doing?
Oscar the Grouch?
Oscar the Grouch was, yeah.
Did you tell me he wasn't homeless?
The Grouch, he's homeless.
Homeless man living in a trash can. Yeah, I mean...
Dave Chappelle said, yeah.
It's like, what do you call that?
He's not homeless. He's domiciled. He's domiciled challenge. Okay.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
He's a landlord of Hooverville.
Yes. They actually have a Muppet. Not only have they a Muppet that's homeless, they have a Muppet that is actually whose father's in prison. His name's Alex.
Yeah, I remember we talked a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Ooh, what does the parent do?
It was daddy works for Con Edison. What's your daddy do? My daddy is a fireman. What's your daddy do? 5 to 10 for rackets for armed robbery.
I stabbed Grover for talking to me wrong.
Hey, I shanked that blue motherfucker's ass.
I haven't seen it, but I'm hoping that the dad wasn't caught up in the Me Too movement. But anyway,
oh no.
Let's talk Axanar.
Hey, prison, you got to do what you got to do, you know. So
I prefer what Martha Stewart did. She just took her comb, smashed it against the wall, and then stabbed someone.
All right, Axanar.
Now,
this is the kind of thing that certain people in the comments have an issue with, and I keep saying,
it's Saturday, and we do get a little off the walls more so on Saturday.
A little
more than usual.
Hey, I behave. I don't know about you guys.
Except for once in a while, you'll throw in a really good zinger that makes everybody shut up because it's 10 times better or dirtier than anything we could have said. So
because she seems kind of wholesome.
Do I?
No.
I would like to hold some of that. Oh, excuse me. Hello, I'm Old Man Picard. Nice to meet you.
Old Man Picard's joining us a little early.
That's the way we say hello in the future. We just scoop. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Well, I got a feeling the government's going to look back at this tape in 10 years and go, you want to explain these?
Oh, we're dead.
We're so fucked.
All right. Anyway, let's get to the news.
There goes my Senate career.
Yeah, exactly. I pretty much abandoned running for office and on any level.
It's like Tyler Bio Rodriguez said, fuck the Muppets when he was in his younger days. You want to vote for him?
I'm already...
chickens in every pot in a fucking car in every garage.
Rob is the one who could never run for office, I bet.
Oh my god.
The Me Too scandals would come out left and right.
the homophobic, racist, misogynistic guy from Connecticut.
We just likes the ladies.
We have breaking news. Senate candidate Robb Robot Shlomo has had a history of dalliances in quicksand pornography. We are getting these details just as they come into CNN.
West Virginia audiences are already burning his CDs.
Yes. The book burn. People are buying his book just to burn it. All right, let's get into Axanar. It's good.
And you're still more likely John Lennon there.
Axanar already.
Okay, well, first of all, give a little bit of background on this whole thing, Rob. How did it all kind of start? Just a real quick recap for anybody out there listening who is not real familiar with the whole Axanar situation, and then we'll get into it all.
Well, Axanar was a planned fan film that a guy by the name of Alec Peters was working on, and our good and Robert Meyer Burnett was actually also, he was editing it. There was another, was James Christian was his name, I believe it was, or Mark Christian, whatever was his name. He was actually he directed the original short, The Proof of Concept. They raised a bunch of money on Kickstarter to fund this, and actually they started out, they wanted to raise $10,000. They got $100,000. They made this proof of concept, and then they raised a ton of money to actually make.
I think it was over $1 million at one point.
It was over $1 million. Oh yeah, over $1 million. And this was actually around the same time as
just before Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah.
Just before Star Trek Discovery, before that became public knowledge. So it was going to be centered on a character from season 3 episode Whom Gods Destroy, called Garth of Izar, Kelvar Garth, and he was the hero of the Battle of Axanar during the 4 Years' War with the Klingons. So they got all this money. They rented a studio. They built sets. They bought cameras. They bought editing computers to edit it on, software. Everything was go. And then CBS decides to lower the boom and sue them. So for a while, for copyright infringement, yeah. And for a while, it looked like it was going to go away. J.J. Abrams said it looks like it was going to go away. Then CBS issues these guidelines of how to make your own fan films, which would, if you adhere to them. Now they're just guidelines; they're not laws. Actually, as Robert Meyer Burnett said recently, they're guidelines. You can follow them, or you can't, or you can follow them or not. But that's up to you. What repercussions that follow, that's you have to face those. So the lawsuit gets settled, and but in the interim, there's been some friction between Robert Meyer Burnett and Alec Peters, as it turns out. Isn't that right, Tom?
Well, it seems that Robert Meyer Burnett took to his podcast today on his new channel, which we do recommend if you haven't checked it out yet. He's got some great content coming on there on top of.
Oh, that's a fucking excellent idea.
Yes, it is an excellent idea. And
except for when he streams on top of me, but
yeah,
that can't be helped. He can't avoid streaming on top of it.
And the less said about his other Collider friends, the better.
But he had talked about his experience with Axanar and Alec Peters, and we have a super chat from Avenger MK2, says Axanar, the Icarus of Star Trek. And basically he got into, we recommend you checking out the video if you haven't already. It's a long video, so we're going to try and break down a few of the things here that he talked about. But basically he got into how he was not compensated for any of the work he had done, how basically Alec kind of viewed the whole project as a whole, and how Robert feels that the fans are owed an explanation as to what went down. He had also said that he was going to release his videos that he had as far as like finished effects and some other things, because they had shot some scenes, I guess, or at least one scene I can remember for sure. And he also said he was going to release the script that was worked on by him and Bill Hunt, a good friend of ours here at Midnight's Edge, who basically has confirmed anything that Robert said concerning the script portion and stuff that had to do with Bill. So that I can say. So basically, this does not paint Alec in the best of light. No. Needless to say, there was so many more points to this, and there's some other points we're going to get to that Robert got to, and other questions that weren't Axanar related as well down the road here. But I want to kind of get everybody's overall feeling on what Robert said, as far as, Alec and the money involved and the lawsuit. Not only that Robert's being sued by Alec wants to sue Robert over certain things. And not only that, there was just a situation where I guess Alec had even written an email saying he wanted to destroy Robert Burnett's reputation and his life. So again, a lot of stuff not painting Alec in the greatest of light. Now, full disclosure, we basically have talked to and kind of know just about everybody involved in the situation. So it is a touchy subject involved. We don't want to alienate anybody or pinpoint anybody or shine any bad lights on anybody. But of course, there's always two sides to every story. Unfortunately, there's a lot more people that seem to be on the side of the story that Robert Burnett's giving us. What do you guys feel about that? Let's start with you, Tyler. You saw it too. What did you take away from this?
God damn, it's a mess. It's a complete shit show. I can't believe how much I don't even really know why they even making a big deal out of with Burnett. Really, he was a part of Collider for God, how many years was it? Like 3, I want to say. Damn it! What am I going to say here? But I don't really know what to say about the situation beyond it's a mess. It's a mess. I can't believe that all this stuff happened over a fan film. I mean, it's a good fan film. I've seen clips, here and there, but Jesus, really? All this. That's all I can say.
Right. Yeah, it sounds like a mess that money got involved and made things very complicated. Now, Mecha, you did not get to see the video yet because you were actually off seeing Bumblebee.
Yeah, I saw Bumblebee instead. I'm sorry, I didn't know he was dropping stuff, or I would have watched.
Right.
Oh, it happened
on you.
No, but I do know a little.
And what you know,
that's fine.
Yeah,
just what we just said and what you know about the subject. What was your takeaway from all this now?
Oh God, I am so pissed that we don't just have Axanar. That people can't just that we can't just have nice things. Because from what I understand, some people were okay, well, you can have this, but then you can't, and then somebody threw a temper tantrum, and that's just me remembering word of mouth from 2 or 3 months ago. But no, I just wish we would have Axanar instead of Discovery, because that is the good storytelling. And I hate that. I hate it when people get behind the scenes stuff, because Lord knows everybody goes through that sort of high school drama and stuff in their lives too. But
the sad thing is, I remember when this was getting made and it looked really promising, and then all the copyright problems started striking in and went, oh, this is bad. And then, okay, I hadn't thought about it for quite a while. And then this news came out. I'm like, oh, it was even messier than I thought.
Yeah, because it looks so good. I mean, you had actual professional actors in the thing. You actually had a decent story. They like you said, they were going the story of the 4-year war instead of this Klingon war that we got out of Discovery. And from what I kind of remember hearing years ago, when Discovery, it seems like years ago, like a year ago when Discovery started, is that Discovery wanted their version of the Klingon war, and they were pretty jealous that some of their fans were doing it better, or at least that was my interpretation of it, a year ago. So, oh man, I don't know. I really need to watch that video though to see what else, because I'm sorry, I was at Bumblebee.
Doesn't hurt if you watch the the Midnight's Edge primer or Robb's primer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he also gave us a great shout out, so thanks so much to Robert for that. Now, speaking of Roberts, Rob,
yes,
you did watch the video. And you've been in the thick of this shit since the beginning with Midnight's Edge. What was your takeaway from this news? Which, is pretty, I don't even know the word for it. It's a bombshell.
Yeah.
Horrifying is the word I'd use.
Yeah, well, here come the cops, actually. Just sirens outside my window. But it's CBS. This is a bigger shit show than I first thought. Obviously on any on any production things, you're gonna have people that clash. You're gonna have egos come to play, but this is wow, there's a lot more information than I thought here, and I understand the whole thing. Hey, you know what, just from a purely I don't think it's unfair to say, listen, you raised all this money. The people who donated, I think they should have they have a right to say, hey, what's I pledged this money at Kickstarter in good faith. I'd like to have a little something to show for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's more where I'm coming from. So I can see that side of it.
Right.
I kind of tend to take the fan side of it, of this.
Well, and let's be clear here. What is the difference between a fan film and something that could be considered copyright infringement? Well, the difference the difference is you can't technically make money off of the fan film. Now, how are people allowed to raise money through means like Kickstarter to do something like this? And what are those monetary funds supposed to be? I know it was kind of redundant. Well, what is that money supposed to be used for? Well, it's kind of I know the answer, but the question I'm going to present to you guys as far as how you see it, and then that'll get us into the lawsuit a little bit too. Go ahead.
Well, one of the things that I never understood was that when people said, "Oh, well, you raised all this money, they bought all this equipment from all that money raised," I'm like, "Yeah, that's what it was for." I mean, yeah, they're gonna buy equipment. I mean, a lot of people were upset that they were going to keep whatever they, like whatever cameras and lighting and whatever they had bought, so that they could just start up a legit studio. I'm like, they told you up front that they were gonna do this. So I really said I don't see a problem with that. Not so much. I don't see a problem with that. Like I said, as long as you're not profiting from it, but like I said, the cameras and stuff. I'm like, yeah, you're gonna buy a $3,000 DSLR camera and use it once, and it's just gonna sit in your closet. No, you're gonna use it.
I just remembered what I was gonna say. Who this all reminds me of? Alex Peters kind of reminds me of Isaac Perlmutter and that sort of overinflated ego and just simply just pure wackiness of, why are you doing this? Come on, stop.
Right. Well, I'm not saying whether or not you're wrong or right on that. What I'm going to say here has to go along more with what Robb is saying, and that is, okay, afterwards, according to what Robert said, they were renting the facility that they were using. And then the idea was, after they were done with that film, the press and everything that they would get from that fan film would help them get legit jobs and work, and they would continue to rent the facility, I'm assuming, but they probably couldn't reuse a lot of the same stuff. Now, the camera equipment, some of the computer and editing equipment, I'm sure that falls into a gray area as to where, okay, now if, say, how that would work out is if you start a production company afterwards and that production company reimburses the original production somehow, and in a way that the original, the producers who would be the Kickstarters in this case, I guess, because that's who would only, see the product and they're producing it. It's not for profit. Now, give them a kickback or something, or spend that money on something for the Kickstarters. You know what I'm saying? Something to where it's not an illegal practice, to where there's no real profit being made off of something, and you're not seen as reusing or repurposing something in a way that would be considered, against the rules when it comes to this kind of a thing.
Yeah, you got to have something to show that you're not just taking the money and putting it in your pocket.
Right. And of course, though, if you have people who are editing, if you have people that are building sets, if you have actors, if you have costumers, they're going to do the work no matter what it's for. So yes, you still have the right to pay those people, and those people have the right to be compensated for their time and effort and work. But those who are involved with the actual production are not allowed to actually profit off of the product in the end is what it's for. That's what I was kind of getting to, is that the whole reason that you're allowed to do this crowdfunding thing is to pay for the things to do the project, but you're not still allowed to like afterwards profit in some way off that project is the fine line.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense too. Like, because it's at the end of the day, CBS does still own this.
Exactly. And in Robb's video, he brings up a good point about Batman. Well, you might as well say it, Robb, since it was your video, about market saturation and all that stuff. You got your mute button.
Yeah, yeah. I have my mute button. Unmute. Okay, I'll spare the Grover voice this time. Yeah. For the I always say here's the thing. For the people who say there shouldn't be copyrights on anything, I say copyrights do serve their purpose, and here's why. Let's say there was no copyright on a character like Batman or the Avengers or Spider-Man or whatever. Just take whatever character you want and just say there's no copyright on that. That means anybody could make their own Batman movie. Everybody can make their own Batman movie, make their own Batman comics, make their own Batman coloring books, make their own Batman cartoons, make their own Batman toys, make their own Batman video games. You'd have thousands of different versions of Batman in the marketplace, and it would be difficult, next to impossible, for fans to be able to sort through all the bad ones, and most of them would be bad. I mean, most of them would be not only bad, they would be terrible.
There are some public versions of it already, like was it Night of the Living Dead is public domain. Look at the mess that thing is on like DVD and Blu-ray. Ugh.
Yes, thank you for pointing that out. Like I said, there would be how many different versions of like I said, Night of the Living. Look how many. Okay, even let's just take Robin Hood for example.
Look, we've already seen how this happens. You have so many different Robin Hoods and King
Sherlock Holmes,
and Three Musketeers,
and it's very difficult to get a.
Or the Jungle Book. Anything that's public domain is just abused.
Like the only ones I've ever seen any kind of success were the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes, and way back to Kevin Costner's Robin Hood. I think was the last time a Robin Hood was profitable.
The Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock Holmes is actually really good.
Well, that's anyway, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's a series, but they're each one is 90 minutes, so it's sort of like they make like 3 90-minute movies, really.
But still, there you go. There's a situation where you already have an idea of how this could cause some confusion in a marketplace already. Look at the Spider-Man situation.
Oh yeah,
and that's all licensed.
Yeah. So like I was saying though, I mean, when you have a character that is actually, if there's no copyright on it, it's just public domain, it's just out there, anybody can use it, you're going to get a ton of different versions of it, and most of them are going to be bad.
And it's why Disney's so paranoid about their characters becoming public domain.
Yes. Like I said, and how are fans supposed to sift through the bad ones to get to the few good ones, and by the time you do get to the good ones, I mean, the market is just so saturated, nobody's going to make any money on this. And so to a certain degree, just having one version of Batman, one version of Spider-Man, one version of Superman, one version of Star Trek, that could be a good thing. However, with that said, the barrier to making films has been drastically reduced. You can get into movie making for under $1,000. And CBS at the same time, they weren't doing a whole lot with the Star Trek IP to begin with back then. And the argument
mid 2000s, that was after Enterprise got canned. There was little to speak about.
Yeah, between 2005 and between 2009. 2009.
And the JJ
there was that the JJ Trek. There was very little there was no Star Trek at all. They pretty much took the 40th anniversary off.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like I said, we're getting to a point now, like I said, where the barrier to making films has been drastically lowered. Everybody has a computer. Everybody has an they give you iMovie and GarageBand, and you can get a version of Final Cut on any new iMac. Cameras are really inexpensive. I mean, you can improvise with lighting.
Most people have it in their pocket.
Exactly. Everybody has a camera on their phone. I mean, and those cameras are actually getting very, very good now. And so it's only a matter of time before someone takes things into their own hands. Now, the argument against that is, well, if you have a car that you're not using, are you going to let someone else drive it? And there actually is an app called Turo, which lets you rent out your car when you're not driving it. So, the irony. But at the same time, if you have a car that you care about, at least change the oil every 3,000 miles. At least put new tires on it. At least, put new brake pads on it. You have to maintain something in order to have it keep its value. You don't just buy a house and just let it sit. You have to clean the gutters. You have to paint it. You have to keep the driveway paved. You have to do certain franchise maintenance, and CBS has not been doing that. So it's only natural that someone was going to pick it up and do something with it at the same time, whether right or wrong. I mean, listen, people aren't, and this actually comes back to a TED talk by NYU media professor Clay Shirky. People are not just content to sit on the couch and consume anymore. They want to create. They want to share, and this feeds into that. And the genie is out of the bottle in regards to that. Fans and the audience isn't just going to sit back and consume anymore. That's what they want. They want us passive. They want us to just sitting on the couch with the same 3 channels. I'm like, those days are long gone.
I should also note that fanfic films in Star Trek were much more encouraged than, say, Star Wars. I mean, there's some fanfic films that literally have actors from Star Trek in them.
Yeah. George Takei was in one. Walter Koenig was in one. And
Jonathan Frakes in one of them, I think.
Yeah, and Jonathan Frakes was in one of them. But it took CBS 40 years to get around to this. Really, guys? Really?
Right. And then to go back to what you guys were just talking about, that's the fine line I think that was being blurred. To kind of correct you just a little bit, Tyler, you're not totally wrong, but George Lucas was very open to fans doing fan films. He even had a database online to where you could go get sound effects and stuff to use. He had no problems with that. But you didn't have the excessiveness like you're saying, and you're right about that, like they did with Star Trek, where you're actually getting people who are involved with the productions involved with these fan films as actors and people behind the scenes. And that brings us right back to Robert Meyer Burnett, who is somebody who was connected to Star Trek in various ways. And what that also brings us to here is how Alec really kind of screwed a lot of people, or in a way drove a lot of people away from the project, so they weren't able to be fruitful off the project, not in so much a monetary way in a sense, but in a way that they were able to show off what they could do. And that's what these projects are really for. And that is to show people what people are capable of, and hopes that these people can maybe even come on and work on something that's legit. And I think
it's a demo. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I think
it's a
demo
demo
all up between them and CBS at that point. But go ahead.
It really serves as a demo reel for people to show off their skills. That's what what it amounts to a lot of times.
That's fanfics in general are like a demo of ways because if you're more comfortable with the actual setting, that you can be a little bit better writing. And sometimes people go on to do good things that were originally fanfic, and sometimes fanfics become actual things. That's what 50 Shades of Grey was originally.
Yeah, but that's terrible.
Yeah, I know. That's a bad example of quality, but it made money.
Yeah, it did.
But in the end, though,
just because something makes money doesn't mean it's good.
No.
In the end, though, like I said, though, this affected a lot of people, Robert Meyer Burnett, of course, being one of them, and how he kind of lost almost all his Star Trek access out of this. He said he lost all his funding for Free Enterprise 2 because of this situation. They didn't get the Blu-ray release of Free Enterprise because of this situation. This lawsuit that came about brought a lot of issues in people's lives. And then from the way Robert made it sound, I don't remember if he exactly said for sure, but it sounded like he had to take care of a lot of his own legal issues on his own as well. He brought up things like, he had some car issues, and Alec helped him with that, but he wouldn't have been able to have to ask Alec for help if he'd have been paid for his services as he was supposed to be. Also, the computer that was bought during production, because Robert's personal computer blew up, he also returned that to Alec as well, even though he thought it was in compensation for the one that blew up working on this project. I get where he's coming from on this situation, where he's not really so much talking about, making millions of dollars off of a project like this. He's just talking about being compensated for the work he did do, just like anybody else would be on one of these projects if they were hired on. And then not only that, he stood by Alec through all of this bullshit and this shit with CBS as far as the lawsuit goes. And we'll get into the Tardigrade lawsuit here in a moment too, because he did bring that up after being asked about it as well. And how CBS handled that, and how he stood by Alec, and in the end basically burnt every bridge he had to people as far as Star Trek goes, almost, and being able to possibly even work on that in the future. And I feel like that's the one thing that really hurt a lot of people involved with the actual production. And then at the same time, the people who have donated to this haven't really got to see the results of that. But what they are getting now, it does need to be noted, is that Alec has been posting videos, and they are back into production, I guess, on Axanar, but in what version or whatever, I have no idea. But what do you guys think about that kind of a thing?
Does anybody really want to see it after all this controversy?
I'm curious to see it. And
I
again,
do.
it comes back to, like, say, okay, listen, the fans donated to all this money. Let's have something to show for it.
I don't know. I've seen Kickstarters that actually, died and then came back and then eventually delivered. Doesn't end well. I've seen somewhere that the product was so negative that people just wish they hadn't paid any money for it. I've seen this go down bad.
Well, no, I've never really messed with Kickstarter, and if somebody out there who's not on the panel knows better than we do, how does this work with that? Don't you have an X amount of time to actually produce the project that people have paid you for, or don't you have to give them the money back?
Not really.
You have to come up with something.
I was going to say, I think you have to have something.
Well, there's something, but there's not really a time limit here by then. You can say then, but then, well, you can just extend it whenever you want.
I mean, by Patreon, but there is by usually whoever says it. You mean
a lot of musicians actually use Kickstarter to fund their musical projects. I mean,
Kickstarter. I just said Patreon. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, anyway, like I said, a lot of musicians use Kickstarter to fund their projects, and they raise money. And you have a goal, then you have what you call a stretch goal. But you have to show something. I mean, there was a Kickstarter that got $40,000 to build a statue of RoboCop in Detroit. That's yeah, and it happened. Yeah, and the statue's there. They won't put it on display in downtown Detroit, but it's actually on display in a public park. I think in Detroit. I mean, those are the kinds of things that are on Kickstarter.
Everything's on Kickstarter.
What?
Everything's on Kickstarter. I'm pretty sure, like, a Super Dildo Extreme Edition is actually on Kickstarter.
So I should put a Kickstarter up for my pork sanctuary then.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my podcast.
Yeah, my brother Dave was saying there's a musician that he listens to named Dwight Twilley. Oh, Dwight Twilley, it's so sad, man. Oh, he's got a thing up on this thing called Kickstarter. Have you ever heard of that? Where it's asking people for money to make a new album. Like, yeah, everybody does that now. I'm like, there's nothing sad. Everybody does it. There's nothing sad. I mean, I showed him. He goes, look, there's at least four, maybe a dozen other people that are asking for money on Kickstarter for the same thing. Oh, when did this happen? I'm like, it's over the last 5 years. I'm like,
there's a lot of high profile examples of Kickstarters. Like, I think 3 years ago, the Don Bluth, the big animation genius, actually had a Kickstarter to do a pitch to actually sell to a major animation studio to make a Dungeons and Dragons
Kickstarter,
Dragon's Lair movie. So a lot of people do it, even high profiles.
Didn't Veronica Mars get a new season?
Yes, through Kickstarter. Yes, heck, even the Friday the 13th game was a Kickstarter project.
Yeah. I remember somebody said he wanted to he started a Kickstarter to fund a new version of the video game MAG, massive action game from that was on the PS3, but Sony put the kibosh on that because they didn't take too kindly to someone using that to raise money. I was like, and he immediately got. There's a case, like I said, you get a cease and desist letter. But usually anything with Disney gets a cease and desist.
Most game projects that are based on IP, they get the cease and desist letter, even if you're not kickstarting it.
Oh yeah. lot of game projects again get if you're doing an add-on, you won't get anything because you're not
Right.
really making money off it. But anyway, back to
Yeah, I was gonna say, as a result of this whole lawsuit thing, we got the guidelines, right, Rob?
yes, the guidelines. You can only make 15 minutes in length. You can't use any union carpenters or union stagehands, I believe. You can't use anybody that's acted in a in a Hollywood production. You can only make 2 15-minute episodes, so to speak. Again, these aren't official. It's not. There's no law saying you have. There's no legal saying, but you can choose whether or not you want to follow them or not. But you might get sued for violating their fan guidelines. But at the same time, you said, yeah, hey, listen, it's. There's no law saying I'm doing this. Well, CBS isn't the federal government, so you can have a case there. But do you really want to pick that fight?
No.
Right. The only, it's one of those things. It's like, a fan film. Where is the line end, and where does actual non-fan film begin, and actual copyright infringement begin? That's a big question. And that kind of brings us up to the tardigrade thing. And Robert was asked about that. And he said if he had read the original scripts, which would have been by Brian Fuller, I'm assuming, hinting that he has, which I think he has kind of said he has in the past on Twitter. He said basically that the tardigrade was much different. There was a character who basically had those powers, not the tardigrade creature. And he also pointed out how if you type in tardigrades, one of the top things that came up at that time or whatever was the game. And that's all he brought to the table on that. He was very kind of ambiguous about it. Didn't want to really, what's the word I'm looking for? Commit to anything. He
didn't want to go into a lot of details.
He didn't want to confirm because he didn't want to have to be called as a witness, probably.
But basically kind of gave us an idea of how this could be there's a possibility here that some plagiarism has been done on CBS's part. Am I gathering that wrong from what you saw, Rob and Tyler?
Yeah, no, you're getting it right. Also, I also mentioned on the fanfic subject that the artist's opinion on fanfics varies so wildly. Like, I'm pretty sure J.K. Rowling's like one of the biggest supporters of it, and I think George R. R. Martin basically said, "Don't you ever dare do that. I'll kick your ass if you even think about it."
But writing fan fiction?
Yeah, I think he flat out said it's
anyway.
He's like one of the biggest opposers to it. That's like, it's bad exercise for aspiring artists. Don't rip off my stuff.
Says the guy who ripped off how many other things, but anyway.
I know. It's like he's kissing the ass of people like Tolkien.
I was just gonna say, I don't know how, I didn't know he had the corner market on fucking dragons or something like that. But anyway, go ahead. Rob.
And tits.
I was about to say, George R. R. Martin. He, granted, if you can get off the chair, you probably kick your ass.
Yeah, I'm unsympathetic. He's a fat bastard from Bayonne, New Jersey. Get on it.
I don't want to get into that. Anyway, so let's get back to the tardigrade issue at hand here. Who didn't get to chime in yet on that?
Random.
CBS stole it. They're a bunch of filthy fucking liars. They're trying to destroy and intimidate and bully some poor guy. Oh, what am I supposed to say? My own opinions or no? Yeah, no, they really pissed me off. They're going after poor Nasruddin and he's just a guy making a game, and he had this cool idea. Hey, let's travel through space through these giant tardigrades. And if you look at the game, even the game has the tardigrade more like a crew member, as it were. So the original stuff, even before the rewrite, is even more plagiaristic. Is that a word? Of his video game. And if Robert Meyer Burnett let spill that, or imply that maybe they did actually search for it at the time.
That was not necessarily implied. He just said that it was something that if you typed it in, it came up.
Yeah, but
at that time that it could have been.
Yeah, so yeah, there's no reason why I don't. There's no reason why they did.
At that time, you didn't have Star Trek Discovery yet. You didn't have The few other things out there like Ant-Man and Wasp that have used like tardigrades and stuff like that. So
Well, and South Park has used them too, but they've not used them to travel through space, you know?
They weren't blue either.
Yeah.
to me, the biggest thing, but
Yeah, their color is the biggest deal, really, when it comes to. Did you rip that off?
Well, just shot for shot, and there's even a part in Anasmodi's game where the Yolanda character that Michael Burnham is a ripoff of, Yolanda is even in kind of a prison uniform looking outfit that looks exactly like the one Michael Burnham.
It's looking more like something in STD than compared to something from Star Trek. Definitely,
exactly, and my biggest problem with tardigrades, like the is that, well, the whole lawsuit anyway, is that they had to change how Star Trek functioned as a spaceship, how the ships travel through space, to change it to the game. Not not like, oh yeah, we're just gonna tweak the, they already have established warp drive, they already have a way to travel through the universe, through space. Why would they go and change it to make it more like this random video game that nobody's heard of, for no reason other than to steal his video game? I mean, it doesn't make sense to even change it, to incorporate all that stuff. You didn't need it. They were talking about a war with the Klingons, and if you pull enough stuff, I mean, they could have just taken the scripts from Axanar and used that, because they were actually fighting the war with the Klingons, and the point was to get all of the Federation ships together and have, because all of the different species of the Federation thought differently. So you would have the Tellarites fighting one way, and the Andorians fighting another way, and then the Federation, the human Federation members fighting another way, and that is how they beat. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, but that was how they beat the Klingons, was by fighting in ways that the Klingons didn't anticipate, and getting out there with their faster ships, and getting out there, with their type of aligned stuff, and
Don't you know, Random? It had to change because it was like all olden stuff, and if it hasn't changed, it's gotten
no, people suck.
better.
No, you're saying it wrong. You're saying it wrong.
It is for a more diverse audience. We love diversity. Don't you know that?
No, you're saying it wrong. It's a series about people in spaceships going around the universe fighting lizard people. Why do you care?
This is a show for children about people in spaceships going pew pew pew. Don't you know that?
So I was at Bumblebee today, and again they showed the stupid Star Trek Discovery promo featurette. They showed it in front of Aquaman, and they showed it in front of this. And I've never actually sat down and listened to Alex Kurtzman, but I'm watching him, and I'm like, this guy has Down syndrome. And I'm not meaning this at all to any sort of insult to anybody. I was like genuinely thinking, oh shit, I'm picking on somebody who's genuinely differently able. There's something wrong with this man.
I'll just say it.
No, and I feel if there is something wrong with him, I feel bad for picking on him all this time.
I have no idea, to be honest with you. But like I was going to say, is the sad part about this whole fucking business is nobody would have brought any of this shit into question. Probably nobody would even said anything to Anas Abdeen, or it'd been very controversial had they not set this as a prequel and insisted it was Prime. Because those two things are what really kind of set a lot of fans off about the whole tardigrade traveling thing, and we're just barely getting to, light speed, and here we are having this extremely advanced technology and blah blah blah, and we also reported on how it's the same exact lawyer that they brought up to act for Axanar, and that's kind of where the connection comes here, that they put on Anas's.
Tell me the lawyer has blue hair and glasses.
No, he's bald.
Oh,
he's bald. I can't remember what the guy's name is off the top of my head. But he's just their guy. He's all right. You're already. He's a partner in the law firm of Loeb and Loeb, which is a high profile law firm in New York, and he's just their go-to guy. He's probably already familiar with CBS, and he actually defended the estate of oh god, I can't remember who it was. But the Harper Lee estate to kill Mockingbird.
Defended her or defended the people that basically elder abused her?
No, he defended her.
Oh, thank God.
I have no idea.
Yeah. I
don't know.
So he's a big gun for hire. He'll it's like the
So can we call him White Johnny Cochran?
Pretty much. I mean, there's an old joke about lawyers. You know, three lawyers going for the same job at the firm. Thank you for interviewing here. Your resume looks great. Tell me one last question. What's 2 + 2? Oh, 4. Thank you. We'll be in touch. The second one, your resume looks great. Tell me what's 2 + 2? 4. Thank you. We'll be in touch. The third guy goes in. Your resume looks great. One final question. What's 2 + 2? He says to the guy asking the question, he goes, what do you want it to equal? He says, you start Monday. I mean, so that's
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. These people are paid liars.
So this poor bastard starts doing the Chewbacca defense on our tardigrade guy. He's doomed.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, we've seen what their defense is. We've seen the letter. We did a story on it.
Yeah, which was I can't remember.
They said, "Oh, you can't copyright
tardigrades."
Tardigrades, yeah.
Well, it's not the tardigrades that they're copywriting. It's
the space travel through. It's changing Star Trek to represent the game. You're changing the uniforms. You're changing space travel. You're changing how characters interact. You're changing, like all of these things, and you're stealing characters straight from the game and inserting them which would be fine if you just had a random, blonde hair, blue eyed, albino looking scientist that specializes in spores. That's fine. But to go out of your way to make him so similar to the one in the game where he's in a same-sex relationship with like, what was it, the doctor character who is a brown bearded man or brown man with bearded, like facial hair, same haircut, same uniforms, same everything. And they even have Tilly, a very similar version of Tilly. You've got this, red-haired girl with very curly, poofy, kinky hair. You're copying so much stuff out of this game.
You may have added that last part in.
Wait.
No, Tilly's copied. Tilly is copied.
Wait, Tilly.
Not the same is that the tardigrade in the game is nice and hugs you, and the tardigrade in STD doesn't.
It rips your face off. Much like CBS, it rips your face off.
Mm-hmm.
I was about to say, wait, Tilly's kinky? Oh,
yeah, I bet she's wild. Did you see her in that one episode where she's all drunk? Remember, she's like over 10 guys and shit. She's like,
and I was
going to mention the other universe version. Yeah. Like, she wears black leather. Come on,
Well, she's basically saying, yes, you're going to bow down before me and lick my boot and stuff. It's like, you don't think she's kinky?
She may as well have said, get on her knees and beg for it.
Well, she kind of did. She said, you're going to lick my boot.
I bet. I'm thinking she's the one that straps it on with Giorgio.
We already
know Giorgio has sex with her clothes on.
I was gonna say we already know they were implying that her and Mikey Spock got it on.
Let's get it on. Well, let's get it on.
Mikey Spock was the bottom. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, Mikey Spock's riding bitch on this one.
We call it the crouching tiger, hidden dragon.
Oh yes.
I'm sorry. That was my first thought when I saw Mikey Spock and Mirror Giorgio, and Giorgio goes to like grab her. I'm like, oh, you're gonna kiss, aren't you? I've seen this before.
Hidden dragon.
Yes. Oh, of course you've seen this already. Random. You probably looked it up somewhere.
Georgius pulls
I'm
up.
not confirming anything.
Shape of a dragon. Anyway, we're getting way sorry. Okay.
Hey, we're almost. This is almost a porn podcast.
Almost. So yes, Robert had a lot to say about all this stuff, and we do encourage you check that out. Of course,
it's like 2 hours.
Yeah, it's almost 2 hours long. But he gets really into the story about the whole thing, about where he got involved, how Bill got involved, how they got uninvolved, how Alec treated people, and the situation. Of course, we have been in contact with Alec as well, and of course, we've also been in contact with other people like Bill and stuff like that in the past. So this is not something you've heard the last of. We'll definitely have something about this again, probably on the main channel, I'd imagine. Herpingus McDerpington, thanks so much for the mental image. I need to puke. Sorry about that. $2 super chat to go along with that mental image, evidently.
Well, I thought Michelle Yeoh was a very beautiful actress.
Anyhow, so yeah, this will definitely not be the last you hear about this subject from us. This is most definitely the beginning. Isn't that right, Rob?
Yes. This is, as Churchill called, this isn't the beginning of the end. This is the end of the beginning.
They're gonna fight him on the beaches and the landing grounds.
Yes. I mean, they stole. Well, hey, they stolen every other idea. So they might, why wouldn't they steal World War II?
Well, it's gonna be Mikey Spock giving the speech though, and it's gonna be basically encouraging everyone to be like her.
And Robert is supposed to be dropping his footage on New Year's Eve, I believe.
Ooh.
So
Imagine Mikey Spock like giving the speech on the landing craft.
You shall
Man.
fight like me on the landing grounds. You shall fight like me in the beaches.
Because I am the greatest. I am the greatest person, and just by knowing me, you will all be better people.
I will never surrender, just like me.
Yes, exactly. And the two guys like it. It's like, just wait till she turns around. We'll just shoot her and don't want to hear her anymore.
well, Robert said he'd give out the script, and of
Well, she'll
course,
shoot herself, obviously.
I've
Yeah,
read the script
She
before.
points the phaser toward herself, so she'll just take care of that.
Why has no one parodied that? Why she's like, I'm gonna take down you people.
And I thought the script was amazing. And of course, hopefully you guys out there get to read it. And Rob Burnett wants to know what you guys think about it, of course. And I'm sure Bill Hunt's interested to know what you guys think about it. Of course, I'm sure Rob's going to read it. Mecha's probably going to read it.
I am.
Oh, don't you want to read the original Axanar script?
Yeah.
I want to see the movie. Less reading involved.
Well,
Yeah, I
we don't
know.
get that movie anymore.
Well, coin flip, we're gonna get that.
When people read scripts, I'm like, oh, the script is absolutely amazing. I'm like, I don't know what to look for when I read a script. That's the whole problem. I try my best. I'm like, yeah, I keep I keep thinking I'm like John Peters with the Kevin Smith. He's on the couch with the holding his hands up. What are you doing? I'm visualizing the movie. Go,
You want to be more like when David Vogel of Disney first read M. Night Shyamalan's script for The Sixth Sense, where he's like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing I've ever read in my life.
But change the kid into a talking dog. Yeah.
Thank God that didn't happen with The Sixth Sense. That would have been a very different movie.
Chevy Chase while you're at it.
And Bruce Willis, I'm thinking John Candy. John Candy's dead.
Kevin Spacey can be the doctor, and he can be friends with the kid. Who knows?
Kevin Spacey could have actually worked back then, though.
Let's see. George Lopez. Yeah, let's get him.
Well, his career is a ghost.
Yeah, he's a diversity. He's a diversity hire. Yeah.
Ouch.
Rob, who's my favorite Looney Tune? Daffy Duck.
Daffy, obviously.
Because he's insane. He's insane.
a star.
He's so tightly wound.
Which
So,
Daffy do you like, though?
Oh God, I like the Duck-a-Muck Daffy.
Pre-Bugs Bunny? Okay, so you like him post-Bugs Bunny.
I do say Duck
but
Dodger.
But I do love the pre-Bugs Bunny Daffy when he's just a complete metal case. Yes. Picard. Oh yeah, tell him about what he said about Picard.
Yeah, he's also heard the same rumors we have that Picard is set up to replace Star Trek Discovery, much like there was a contingency plan set up to have that Khan series probably replace it, as well as we heard that didn't happen, of course, but they did kind of give Nick Myers the shaft from what we heard from his interview too. So
we didn't help.
I don't know about that. I can't speak on that. There's a lot of shit here I can't speak on right now. So, I mean, that's the sad part is I'd love to, but no, can't right now, but we'll definitely have more interviews and other things, I'm sure, to come on this. And I'm sure we'll have tons of videos. So a few at least. So stay tuned for all that on the main channel. In the meantime, though, do you want to take some questions, Rob? But I was going to ask you guys if you'd seen Prelude to Axanar. I know Rob has, and I just wanted to hear what he thought about it.
Yes, it's amazing.
That was from about like 4 years ago, right?
Yes.
It was that long ago.
No, it was about 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Okay, 3. I've seen clips of it. I've never seen the full thing. It looked good from what I saw.
Mecha?
Oh yeah, it was amazing. That's what I wanted. That's what we needed instead of Discovery.
I remember people were very positive to it when they saw the clips because that was in the original. That was the era of like Into Darkness, where people were very disillusioned with the JJ movies.
Mm-hmm.
But Mikey Spock wouldn't be able to tell you how great she is and how better you are for knowing her.
Mikey Spock can suck a dick. I'm so tired of Mikey Spock. She's just terrible. She's not fun. She's not a good character.
Just realized something, and we should be so thankful that The Big Bang Theory is ending this year. They could have done a cross promotion with STD.
You know they would have too, because they're gonna have like new Spock on, and they probably would have talked about
No,
it.
they would have Sheldon going like, "I love Mikey Spock. She's the best new female character on Star Trek."
I really relate to her.
Pecker Spock. It's Mikey Spock and Pecker Spock.
Pecker Spock sounds like, I don't know. I'm not getting into it.
All I know is the BBC
Pecker Spock.
BBC America has been running the Doctor Who all weekend, pretty much all week.
Oh, I can mention this, which is at work. Apparently, whatever channel they always have tuned to in like the break room was playing Star Trek when I came in yesterday, and they were playing was it Another Eden? I think was the episode.
Yeah, which just give me a refresher.
That was the one with the girl that looks a lot like Carol Marcus in the remake of Into Darkness. It's with a younger Kirk.
Another Eden.
Am I saying the name wrong?
Is it this side of Eden?
This side. Oh my god, I got the name wrong.
This side of paradise.
This side of.
I was going to say,
with the spores and Spock becomes a hippie.
That's the one.
it's horny as fuck.
It's interesting because I don't think anybody else is paying attention because it's like, well,
Spock. Yes,
What?
Captain. What? I need you to bring back to the Enterprise. I won't be doing that, Captain. Spock, are you displaying a direct order? Captain, I'm about to get some hot booty.
Can't you hear the porn music?
maybe that's what they meant by triple.
Spock, keep it in your pants for just one moment. So
Maybe that's what the writers meant when they're like when they said we're gonna have a,
to talk.
when they said we're gonna have a tripling. Maybe they read that wrong.
yeah, like I said, all I know is, like I said, BBC America's been running older episodes of Doctor Who, trying to remind us. Yeah, trying to remind us it was actually good at one time.
Is it part of their apology tour?
Yeah,
I think it's to get people ready for the Daleks.
Oh yeah. Oh, so they finally admit the Daleks. They have to use the Daleks.
Yep, they have to use them. They're coming back for the.
Have they used the Cybermen yet?
Dollop of Daleks.
Have they used the Cybermen yet?
No.
No, not yet. Well, like, because the whole big deal when Doctor Who came back for this season was like, oh yeah, we're not going to use any of the old villains. It's all new villains.
Well, that's the fact that should have been used. Obviously, is going to be lie.
Why is the Doctor a chick now? Why does the Doctor have titties? Must.
Are we big vibrators now?
Well, no, actually, her sonic screwdriver is. It's kind of curved for the G spot, and it does. If you do see the toy, the actual prop, it does spin around and vibrate.
Stop rubbing up against my plunger, you.
I'm not making that up. I wish I was.
I was expecting that. Yeah, of course they do that.
They got a Matt Smith episode on now. I just love Alex Kingston. She's just I don't know what it is about her.
Matt Smith is my favorite Doctor.
But River Song, Alex Kingston. I like I said, whenever she says hello, sweetie, I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I need.
Let me guess. Were you a big Karen Gillian fan? Was it
yes?
Amy Pond, I think her name was.
Yes, Amy Pond. Yes.
My favorite Doctor is Evil.
Yeah,
Tom Baker.
He's clearly an Eccleston fan.
Gary's Gary from Nerdrodic. Daleks will be making contractually obligated appearance. Yeah. They will look different. Oh,
yeah.
5% different.
I wonder how different they will look.
Yeah, you double up, make it 50% different.
25% different.
That's what I said.
Yep.
5%.
Now, Gary, why would what is it in their contract? Why are they contractually obligated to appear in the last episode? I mean,
is he joking?
Sai is right. Yeah. Patrick Troughton is my favorite. That's way old school. There's still 98 episodes of Doctor Who missing from.
Yeah, I'm
back in
aware of
the
the co-host on the Peanut Butter podcast, which we recorded about 2 hours ago. He specializes in lost media, so believe me, there's a lot of episodes listening.
Yeah, we've talked
Terry-
a little bit about that before.
The Terry Nation estate owns them. Okay, what is about the Terry Nation estate? I mean, they have to appear once a season. Or they lose them.
Just like
With the Fantastic Four thing, with every so often you got to use them or you're gone.
Yeah, use them or lose them.
just like your balls, baby.
Oh boy, yeah. Moffat admitted the Technicolor Daleks were a misstep. Yeah,
But no one gives a shit about Moffat because he's not in charge anymore.
yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
kind of
not-
know what he was though. This chin ball guy is not.
Seriously, I thought everyone derided Moffat as an absolute pawn.
Oh, the Moffat was terrible. Don't get me wrong. The show was less boring, at least.
Terry
when
Nation
Moffat was-
created the Daleks. It's a co-ownership, says Gary.
That
Come
makes
on,
sense.
Gary. You want to come on, Gary, or are you busy?
Yeah, if you want to join us here.
It's Saturday night. It's time to let loose now. I hope Bill's not listening anymore.
Oh, he's gone long ago.
D-A-Y night. S-A-T-U-R-D-A-Y night.
Yeah, I know a decent amount of Doctor Who, but I'm hardly an expert. I chalk this up to BBC America always being available on weekends.
Jane Gillenhan is Nebula. Nebula, tall, hot redhead. Come on. Yeah, she is hot.
Mm-hmm. Just random. How tall are you? Just out of curiosity.
like 5'6".
Okay.
She's
Okay.
a cutie. That's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, Gary says, sure, almost finished editing.
All right.
Some of the
Eating,
best
so-
people are 5'4".
Eating,
Okay.
eating. He's not editing. He may be
Eating?
editing what he's eating.
Eating is just editing your food for consumption.
That's what I'm just saying.
Yes.
He's editing his burger.
Not wrong, but you're not right either.
Not the first time I've heard that.
Oh shit. Oh Lord. No, it's not Rob.
Was Rob a Bay City roller? No, I was not. I don't know. They're from Scotland, but they're named after Bay City, Michigan.
Correct me if I'm wrong, isn't Sarah Jane? Is she the one whose actress actually died in real life?
Yes.
Who's that?
Sarah Jane.
I'm not sure on that one.
S-A-T-O. Dance with my baby to that rock and roll on Saturday night. And they sing like Kirk. I dance with my baby to that rock and roll.
My all
Saturday
seriousness, actually, how do we pronounce the showrunner of Doctor Who now? I know it's not really chin balls. It's
I just call him. It's
Chibnall.
Chibnall.
Chibnall, and I
We
can
call
never
it
say it.
Chidnals. Is the B silent?
You did kind of start that, didn't you?
Chibnall. I can't say it. My mouth
Fuck that,
doesn't.
it's chin balls.
I just say chin balls. I kept stumbling over Chibnall.
Did his parents have fish and chips in their mouths when they were naming him?
I don't know.
Fish.
They took a tea break before he was born.
Chin
It's
balls.
it's chin balls. Yeah, Elizabeth Sladen passed away from cancer. Yeah.
Oh,
it's
I
sad.
figured. I just wasn't fully sure.
Okay. That's sad.
What is Rob? Billy Barnett. What is Rob doing in that photo? That photo was taken by my friend Dave Sheehan, fellow comedian Dave
Let me
Sheehan,
see if I can find that one picture of you.
on a Tuesday night after trivia at
Roller
the
naked.
former at the former Anna Liffey's. That's where that picture was taken. He said just give me a good, and I just did that just for,
Are you trying to do the Killing Joke Joker pose?
I guess, I don't know. Yeah, that picture of me was taken while watching STD. Yeah.
That's what I look like when I'm watching STD. No.
You were naked and how's that song go? The torn.
Cold and shame lying
There you
naked
go.
on the floor.
You almost said the cold and shower for a moment.
Here's Rob.
There I am.
Same
Yes,
hat and
laying
everything.
Oh my
laying
god!
down this.
You look at my dad.
Yeah. The years
He
have
is
not
your
been
dad.
kind.
Daddy,
That's
what
right.
are you doing there?
Hey, Daddy has to pay the rent, okay?
Would you just sell me for 3 bottles of beer? This all makes too much sense now.
You get that much. No.
You see this guy? You see the guy with the green hoodie? The guy sitting next to him, he was an absolute he was an absolute gas to
Leif Erikson, the Destroyer.
Yes. I mean, this guy was. I mean, talk about a great audience. Yeah, I always say that's what I always say. I always look fat, pale, and pasty in every photo.
I could have been mean and showed you one where you dress like,
Just like Batman.
I was gonna say Professor Frankfurter.
Oh, please. I can't get into that corset anymore.
Man, Mecha, can you?
What? Oh God, what happened? What happened? No, we're still live. He'll come right back. So
We lost Tom.
yeah,
Thank
he'll
you,
come right back.
Do not
he
ignore
has- we
my
have a
question,
5
woman.
minute-
Like, is the corset still fit?
Does the corset fit? I don't know which corset.
Don't we have like 5 minutes until he comes?
Yeah, we'll
back?
have 5 minutes.
Oh
Until he
God,
comes
maybe
back.
I'll also entertain you with stories of my aunt, who is the best person imaginable, also the worst person, depending on how you look at it. She's like 50 some, and he's like the
he's
most
back.
hardcore serial
At least I
killer
didn't end the whole
lover,
thing.
like the most
Nope.
hardcore serial killer lover and like fetish person imaginable. Like I'm pretty sure she has like 20 whips in her bedroom.
Richard
Don't
Lee.
mind my typing. I didn't hit mute. Excuse me.
Richard Lee.
I'm going to go out of this one and go into the regular one. I'll be right back, guys.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh no, he left us again.
Oh no.
We're lost. We're lost without him.
But yeah, she always plays up the fact that I wouldn't say she's a dominatrix, but she really plays up that personality.
No, but the Burnett. Robb dislikes her. Who do I dislike?
Is it me? He probably
Grace who?
Grace Randolph. Maybe?
Grace Randall. I'll end off mine by saying also I sometimes like to imagine my aunt's some sort of Black Widow serial killer because boy she likes her murder.
Well, I think that's a women thing. There's a lot of women like of a certain age who just really get into the crime scene sort of stories.
Yeah, she does it to such an almost hilarious degree of like, I'm pretty sure you probably have murdered someone at some point.
And Gary's coming here soon.
Grace Randolph's not that bright, I would say.
But she's on Rotten
I don't
Tomatoes,
wanna
so
get
of
into
course
this
she's smart.
Oh yeah. So are Russian bots.
Oh God.
Oh my God! But
Grace Randolph, I don't know why. I think I've seen one video of hers. I don't know why people watch her.
Look, I'll say this. The first video I ever saw of her was where she tried to make an argument that 50 Shades of Grey, the first movie, was some sort of a feminist statement. Believe me, I kind of lost interest quickly after that.
Well, I mean, it is to a point if you are one of these.
No,
kind of
it's
little-
not.
Well, if you're one of these little old housewives who
Yeah,
wanna
I've
pretend.
said that before. I've said it's the
for
Midwest
people who
housewives
don't-
version of what a
It's granny
BDSM
porn.
relationship is. It's not real.
Yeah,
It's granny porn.
it's granny porn. It's porn for people who don't know what porn is.
I know.
it's porn for women who are ashamed to actually go and buy real porn.
So Mormon housewives.
Yes, exactly. Between miniature golf and picking up the kids at after
Soccer practice.
Yeah, exactly. Alden Altieri, gotta bounce. Good night, folks.
See ya.
Thank you for joining us. Yeah. But like I said, the whole thing about 50 Shades of Grey started. She wrote it. Was it E.L. James? Whatever her name
That's
is?
not her real name.
Well, anyways, why do what's with the initials? I don't
Okay,
understand.
let me explain that one to you.
It's the hip thing.
With E.L. James, I don't know, but for a lot of authors, it's because to disassociate yourself from someone else famous. It's why on every Game of Thrones book it doesn't say George Martin, it says George R.R. Martin, just to make sure no one ever mixes them up with Mr. Beatles producer.
Well, that is understandable. But like,
Yeah.
how many Tolkiens are there? J.R.R. Tolkien.
Maybe it just sounds better.
Yeah, E.L. James.
Some of these guys do that as a
Jig.
pen name, so in case they
Yeah.
decide to do something different later, like Stan Lee.
Mhm.
Yeah, J.K. Rowling.
I think she did that to try to sound like she was P.L. Travers, which why the fuck would you want to sound like that woman? If you want me to alienate half the freaking Mary Poppins fan base, I can literally just vent about how much I loathe Pamela Lynn Travers.
Well, I know why most women do it. It's so they sound like a guy.
Yeah. Yeah, so you
Richard-
don't get
That was her
associated.
reasoning, and
Mhm.
that's why PL Travers did it. Is because
Yeah.
back in her
Like
day,
Rick
if it was a
Cool
woman.
just brought up DC Fontana as a perfect
Exactly.
example of
DC
that.
Fontana.
Richard Lee. I spent my Christmas at the nude Amazon bar by the airport. Robb was there. Mecha was there as one of the Amazons.
Yeah, I read Amazon is like the Amazon, the company. So I was like, this big box.
That's what I was thinking for a second too. I'm like, Amazon has
we're packing. We're getting orders to ship them. Yeah.
That's where the dildos go before they're fully fulfilled.
Oh, tomorrow. Oh, guys, I think we're forgetting to mention something really important. Tomorrow is the return of the Orville.
Yay!
Indeed. Hey, Gary. Welcome, Gary.
Gary's here. Gary's here. Gary's here.
Same as the
Hi,
new
Rob.
year.
Hi, Mecha. Hi, Rob. Hi, Tom. Hi, Tyler.
Yeah.
Tyler,
Hey.
meet Gary.
Hey.
Gary, meet Tyler.
Hello.
Hello,
I
Tyler.
think this is the last time we had you on would have been a Saturday night show.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a lot more free now that the holidays are over. It's been a crazy month, so
You're not Santa Claus anymore. You can retire the beard.
I can.
He's no longer axe murdering people.
That was the secret I wasn't
Aw.
supposed to let out, but
I
since it's after
didn't
Christmas,
say
I
that.
figured it's okay.
Yeah, it is. It is. The bodies are hidden anyway, so good luck finding them.
Well, he's Santa Claus, and yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I know you're still obsessed with the beard.
Well, that's why they hired me, so I can get rid of stuff in the basement.
I'm kind of growing my own. now.
Yeah, they hired me to get rid of
exactly.
stuff in the basement, so it's okay. I can dispose of the stuff in the chimney.
I tried to grow a goatee once, and it took forever to come in. And it just felt dirty all the time. So I said,
I
"Nah."
look awful. I look like a really shitty 70s porn star backup with a beard.
Harry Reams,
Porn star or child molester kind of thing.
Not quite child molester, but not quite porn star either.
That's the only reason I don't just go with the mustache. Is I would think I would look too much like like one of those guys in a white van.
Like, is there a guy with a
Without
Spanish
windows.
last name and a mustache? Like, I'm gonna be shot.
What was that, Gary?
Oh, I was just gonna say you were missing the tinfoil in the windows in the white van, kind of
I
like.
got candy.
Yeah.
Are they tinted? And do you have an anime girl in the back?
Yes. Drive it slowly through the neighborhood with creepy. It's an ice cream truck with creepy ice cream truck.
So-
music.
That's not me on the sex offender list. That's my brother.
Like
No,
these aren't pills on the ice cream. It's Oreos.
So really quickly, Gary, I want to turn a little bit to Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Okay. Last night I fell asleep. I forgot to set the sleep timer on my television. I woke up. They've been running older Doctor Who all week, all Christmas week. Are they trying to remind us of the time when it was still good? I mean, it just seems like weird that it really doesn't seem weird, but the new series is tanking. Jodie's not paying off. And it just kind of seems like they're saying, "Hey, yeah, look, it's still Doctor Who. Look, it's just like these other guys. These other guys, you used to like these other guys, so you might like her." It just seems like they're really trying to remind everyone that this show used to be something everybody liked.
Or is it an apology to her, like I said?
God, it might be.
I think they don't have enough to marathon though. Don't they always marathon it during the Christmas season?
So what you're telling me is like BBC is doing it's the apology tour, willing to sweep you away.
Yeah.
Gary?
Yes, I think they're getting probably better ratings with these rerunning these things, and they don't show any of the older stuff, which sucks. I'd like to see some of that too.
The 60s show.
Like the Tom Baker, the classic.
Well, that's all on
yeah.
Twitch.
Yeah, I know
watch
that's
that.
cool. That is cool that it's on Twitch. I love
Mhm.
that.
I'm sure people are probably watching the Tennant stuff and the Matt Smith stuff a lot.
Oh yeah, the American ratings, and Mecha and I have both done videos on this. Like they aren't a good barometer of it at all because they just do overnight. And I was looking into something last night, and it was kind of tailing off of what you guys did last night with the whole internet metrics or bullshit, which was great. That was a very interesting article and kind of what I've heard from people. I had a friend who worked inside of Netflix for a little while, and he kind of said the same thing. But I got somebody brought it to the BARB to my attention, which is like it's an acronym for like an audience. It's basically who collates the ratings in the UK, and I don't know what ratings mean in the UK because they don't do commercial television, so I don't know what they're trying to sell everybody. But I'm looking into seeing that this guy on Twitter, now this is just a guy on Twitter who shot it to me, so of course I got to verify it.
It's
Not
got
that I'm
to have to do with some kind of funding of some kind. Don't you
yeah, and it's funded by the BBC.
By the licenses.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm sure if you got a hit show, you get more money to
Mhm.
use.
Roger Brown.
But they do sell commercial time though, because I've been over there. I mean, Channel 4 is commercial free, but
Yeah.
there are commercial outlets.
There is commercial outlets, but not BBC One that I remember. But I mean, it's been a decade since I've been there, so and that's why I'm looking into it, because I have no idea. But I
BBC
was calling
government
bullshit. I was calling bullshit on those ratings. And you know, even if it is popular in the UK, so what? But they know it's a failure. If they didn't know it's the parallels with Star Trek Discovery are eerie with this show. Like everything's awesome, but then they delayed season 12 for an entire year. Well, if everything's great, why would you do that? This show is not like, it's not like The Expanse, and they managed to get The Expanse out, and even crappy Star Trek Discovery, there's a lot more special effects in that, and that came out, you know, roughly within a year. So I don't know what's behind that. I think there's a lot of truth to the rumors that Chibnall's leaving and Jodie's going to be out after season 12. But they're going to make everything sound awesome because it's clearly people are pissed off. I was surprised. I thought that's why I held back for so long. I've been pissed since she was announced. I'm not a fan of her at all.
Being a chin balls, apparently he gave us $5 from Canada.
Yes, we're going to get to that. Yes.
Chin Balls is here. Hey, what's up, Chin Balls?
Like, regardless of what's been said about this season, I love how Random says my name.
I was going to let Random read that one. And All Out of Bubblegum also gave us a $5 super chat. Says,
Thank you.
What? Hey, I drive a white van, but I have a handlebar mustache. It's okay if it's a handlebar.
Yeah.
Oh, and I got to mention this one. Roger Brown made a point saying season 2 of STD is good. I'll wear a French maid outfit. Not worried I lose that bet. I actually did something like that like 4 or 5 years ago with like forum friends. It was a bet involving, and this is really obscure, the Telltale video game version of Game of Thrones had a character die in the first 5 minutes, and I said he's going to be back, and one of my friends said, nah, he's dead. So I made a bet, not money, but my friend was wrong, and I was right. He had to eat his hat on camera, and if I was wrong and he was right, I had to wear a freaking Belle dress on camera for 5 minutes. Thank God I won.
Did you have to sing "I Look Pretty"?
I probably had to sing I probably had to sing like Beauty and the Beast or the Belle song or something. I won. I didn't have to go that far.
All right, okay. Change. Oh, go ahead, Rob.
No. Okay, I was about to ask Gary something, but before
you go ahead, because I was going to change gears. Go ahead and ask Gary.
I just got to ask Gary. Okay, Gary. Now, this honest opinion. Mm-hmm. Okay, we with this environment, the whole Me Too thing and everything, and all these think pieces by the Mary Sue. Let's just say Jodie Whittaker leaves at the end. Okay, doesn't get any better. Jodie Whittaker says, "Okay, you know what? I've done my stint. I blazed the trail for a female doctor. What happens after that? Who comes in as the 14th Doctor? Do you think they go with another woman?
No,
Peter Dinklage.
Yes, that's it. No, they'll go with
no. They'll go with Idris Elba.
He's British. They'll have a black doctor.
Idris Elba. He's British. Come on.
I think it gets canceled. It's a really expensive show, and their merchandising has gone down the crapper, and that's what they rely on. They actually can't make money off of just the TV licenses anymore. I think that's no news to anybody, but they don't make it on any show, not much less Doctor Who, which is their most expensive show. So I know there was a lot of people complaining at the BBC about Doctor Who and Top Gear because they were taking all the money for all the TV shows. Now Top Gear is, fallen from grace, unfortunately. And yeah, they're not going to get the toy sales are dead. Yes, right. So no, I think it gets canceled.
Top Gear.
Oh, go ahead, Rob.
Top Gear. Like I said, they complained about Top Gear, but Top Gear was its biggest moneymaker. Top Gear was seen by over 400 million people around the world. It was a huge moneymaker. You go anywhere in Europe, you go anywhere in the world, you turn on a television, you find Top Gear.
And, it was the biggest show in the world, bar none.
But I have a feeling though that the BBC secretly wanted Jeremy Clarkson out.
Yep.
Yeah, and they were just going to use any excuse they could to justify it. And thank God Amazon came along and said, yeah, we'll take these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and it says, oh, you know what? You don't want us? Okay, fine. We're gonna go to Amazon and we're gonna do Top Gear over there. You know, it's no mistake. It's called the Grand Tour. It's just the two initials reversed. But I really, like I said, they wanted him out. I really do think that there was eventually going to be another scandal, whether or not he choked an intern over a slightly undercooked steak or whatever. They were going to find another excuse. And
seen Jeremy Clarkson, I wouldn't put that past him.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I heard there was way worse.
Oh,
Dark King 616 gave us an Australian $5 super chat. Says, so who gets to be the Sylvester McCoy to Jodie's Colin Baker?
That's a good question. Again, weird parallels. It's the same as how Doctor Who died before. I don't know. Speaking of Sylvester McCoy, the other thing I haven't noticed is now not all the doctors have come out pro Jodie. When they are asked, they say, the company line, they're like, oh, we fully support the female doctor. But recently, since my channel got a little bigger, I've been getting a lot of
that said something, I think.
He's all for it, and so is Matt Smith, and Karen Gillan wrote an op-ed about it. But I've started to get like emails and all kinds of messages, and I can't verify anything. Okay, so I'm not going to attribute names to it, but secretly, some of the doctors are not pleased, and they were worried about the show's legacy. Because honestly, that's how a lot of them get paid. I don't think it's going to affect it really, but they were worried, going to cons, making appearances. That's how some of these guys, make money now. And if the show's just dead, which I think it could be, I mean, that could happen to Star Trek too. Like, God, was it you? It was you guys last night. Was it last night? When was the last time you were on? I can't remember.
Last night.
We were on last
Just about every night.
You were talking about
Yeah.
kids watching Star Trek. I'm like, kids don't watch Star Trek. I mean, like
Mecha said that.
Kids are gonna watch Star
Mecha,
Trek and
you
be
said
like,
that.
the kids are gonna be like, oh no, that woman got her face smashed off, and then Tilly's swearing off her head, and
the Japanese lady wants to do Mikey Spock.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
And she's a mom too. She's a mom. That's kind of weird, right? She's a mom.
your parental figure wants to fuck you.
Yeah.
Like those stepmom porns or whatever. But
Oh Christ!
I don't know how I know about
Like
that.
lesbian step.
Bullshit,
I'm not looking.
Rob,
I'm not.
tell you how you know about
Somebody talk about porn. That's my
I was
website.
going to say, Rob will tell you how you know.
I'm
exactly
sorry I
about
brought it
that.
up.
He'll even tell you the exact probably website to go to find it.
I'll tell you the timestamp.
Okay, I wanted to switch gears here. Oh, go ahead, Rob.
Just one more thing, though. I mean,
No, if it's about this, go ahead.
It was actually about Doctor Who. And one of the things I keep noticing, it's actually same thing for Doctor Who, same thing for Star Trek Discovery, same thing for The Last Jedi. Like I said, there was another one. There's a couple other things that you mentioned. There were a couple of Marvel comics, Captain Marvel. No one ever says anything about the quality of the show. It is all the same narrative. It's
It's so diverse. Oh, I love it. It's so diverse. It's a 9 out of 10. It's diverse now. It's so empowering we have a woman doctor. It's so empowering we have.
Don't stone me, but I'm actually okay with a woman doctor in theory. I think.
In theory, it's fine.
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with having a woman doctor. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Nothing wrong with having a woman doctor. But they're all saying the same exact thing.
It gives you a,
I'll be the odd man out. I'm not down with the woman doctor. I don't care.
Okay, woman James Bond is a no, but woman doctor was always set up as a possibility.
But Gary, let me bring this to where actually I said this about casting of a woman as a doctor when they first announced it like a year ago. This inherently changes the dynamic of the show of the entire series, and here's why: the doctor is supposed to be like this little boy. He's supposed to like go plunge head first. If you think about it, he's actually a sociopath. If you think about it, a lot of people die when he's around. I mean, but he's supposed to have that wonderment of the universe, like a little boy, and he's supposed to leap before he looks. And the companion is supposed to be the mom figure. She's supposed to say, no, slow down, wait, think about what you're doing, and he just goes head first. So if you have a woman as a doctor, that's going to change. You're going to have a role reversal, and that's going to change the whole dynamic. Don't you think so?
That's fine, though, in theory.
You can't have a guy telling and mansplaining everything, though.
No, that's it. That Tom's right. That's well, they don't use the word companion anymore. They have taken that away. It is friend now, and they actually told the actors not to say it anymore in interviews. They instructed them to say friend. Companion is now a problematic patriarchal term. I don't know how they came up with that, but it is, and that is a fact, by the
Didn't
way.
they change it to companion because assistant sounded too condescending?
Yes.
These people.
Exactly. It's just it's never enough. It's never enough. And I mean, it could be argued that the companion is the main character of the show.
I would love to have someone listening to us going like, "You don't like female doctors? What's wrong with you?" It's like, we're not talking about that doctor.
Yeah, the companion is supposed to be the audience POV character.
Like I said, when I'm getting a physical,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
No, the companion is like your eyes of the audience to question, to be like, oh, what's this? Oh wow, the TARDIS is bigger on the inside. That was the job of the companion.
The companion is supposed to try to make sense of all this. That's what they're there for.
I'm just trying not to come up with a sexual reference to what Mecha just said.
Giggity. It's fine. It's the After Dark show.
Mecha, is that
It
an
is
Amy
Saturday.
Schumer joke? Is that an Amy Schumer joke, Mecha?
Is that what?
No, you have to add it smells and then my vagina afterwards.
Yeah, you have to make it 20 times more obnoxious if you want to be Amy Schumer.
Well, if it's an Amy Schumer joke, it obviously belongs to somebody else first. So.
Yep.
You know what's sad? The best thing about Trainwreck was LeBron James's cameo. What does that say about her?
I have no idea.
Basketball,
got through that movie.
basketball on an actor. A guy he's not an actor, but plays basketball. Big black guy. He did so much better than her at comedy.
Yeah. Well, anyway, but back to Doctor Who, Gary. I mean, like you said, the merchandising is really what drives profit of the show. Even I have a TARDIS. Actually, I have like the TARDIS I bought at Barnes and Noble.
Right. That's got to be a source of their income right there too.
Yeah.
I mean, merchandise has really fallen off that much for this show.
It has, and Barnes and Noble used to be the place you can go and Hot Topic. Barnes and Noble was better to that was the one place here in the Bay Area you could go and get toys. And for a little while, it was at Walgreens. They're gone. The Barnes and Noble sections have disappeared here. There's no Doctor Who toys left in Barnes and Nobles anymore.
Yeah, I was there actually this afternoon. Actually, I didn't notice any. A lot of Funko Pops, so I didn't notice any Doctor Who stuff.
Oh God, this you know what? You're right. The last time I went to Barnes and Nobles was in Cleveland, and yeah, they had Funko Pops, and I wanted to just scream like the freaking painting. Oh God.
Well, they're selling all the new Doctor Who sonic screwdrivers in the adult toy stores now.
Yes, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised they have one in Good Vibrations here, which is our
next to the R2D2 model.
Yeah,
they rotate and they vibrate and they're curved. What am I supposed to think?
Especially that toy one that you put up on Twitter. Mecha, God damn. That one was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that one actually spins and it vibrates and it lights up.
Mommy, I want one of those screwdrivers.
Mommy can let you borrow it when she's done.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I don't know if you've heard anything, but is there anything inside the BBC, like we've heard inside CBS, about the BBC not being happy with any of this, or everybody just towing the line?
They're towing the line. They don't care. There's people. Nobody's going to say anything at the BBC, but they are completely towing the line, and they don't need to make money the same way like an ABC or an NBC does here. Proof of that is when they got rid of Jeremy Clarkson. When they broke him off. I don't think an American company would have done that. Even if he murdered somebody, to be honest with you. That guy made them so much money. So, I mean, just think of it. It's a big PBS. That's all it is.
That's what I was saying. Is it funded by the government then initially? And
I've heard no,
BBC,
but yes.
I think so.
Yeah.
England does it a lot differently.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry, Gary.
It's TV licenses. So and you got to pay that by law.
You essentially pay a television tax to the government. But in a sense, in a certain way, that's good because, even here, television companies are supposed to operate in the public interest. So if you're paying a TV license, you don't have to worry about, let's just say, not to get too overly political, the Koch brothers coming in and buying a bunch of airtime for a particular candidate, or just skewing the news to reflect a certain but you have whoever's in power able to. Yeah, no, I disagree with that, but that's okay. Well, that's the idea. I'm not saying
I'm
It could
saying,
be
I'm saying
used
that's
in nefarious ways too. I was
Yeah, if you're a publicly
yeah.
traded company, you have to, be somewhat open about that stuff.
Yeah.
And
I'm saying that's the idea. In practice, it doesn't always
Yeah.
work out though.
no, it doesn't. And the EU, God, Article 13, all that crap.
Exactly
Gonna
what Man of
affect us.
Action is just saying. He says, yes,
Yep.
the Beeb is funded by the government. If they need to, they will take the station over and push government information services. Yeah, I was gonna say it could be used for propaganda.
Yeah. What did I okay, so the Doctor Who is labeled a certain type of show, so it gets a certain type of funding, and it's still considered educational.
Really?
Yes.
Educational
Yeah.
British culture?
I could see
Yeah.
it. I could
So
be.
that's how they get that's how it's funded.
Is that
in
why it
that
was
way.
always on PBS back in the day?
Yep. Yeah. That's how I saw it.
That's how I saw
Yeah,
it too.
me too.
Yeah.
I grew up on PBS.
Sunday afternoons.
That
Dark
and
Shadows.
Dark Shadow, Faulty Towers, Monty Python.
I sure learned a lot about people through faulty towers.
Yes. But
Sunday
they wouldn't show
afternoon.
Benny Hill. No
Yeah.
Benny Hill.
So Benny Hill used to be on Channel 9 here in the New York area.
Channel 13 in LA.
Yeah, Channel 9. And they used to run on 11 o'clock Saturday nights. They used to run the Paul Hogan show, which was really good that nobody remembers.
The Paul Hogan show. Is he still alive?
Yeah, he's still alive. Yeah.
Yeah, Paul
Did
Hogan's
you-
alive, yeah.
You remember the Paul Hogan show?
I remember it being on, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I watched it, but I mean, that was kind of high in the 80s too. So
Oh, God.
for most of them.
Does anybody here remember Corey in the House?
No.
When I was on ABC Kids?
No, not really. No. Paul Hogan one time he did this brief kind of bit. He held up like a microchip. He goes, "This is a silicone chip." Yeah, everybody knows what a chip is. It's it's what we eat with our fish and made from potatoes, and silicone is what they make fake boobs out of. So how's a boob and potato gonna revolutionize computers? Well, we'll show you. It's just like he's just like Paul Hogan was just like so good. Like he was. And he used to do this thing where he used to be a biker, but he used to ride a skateboard. And he used to visit his buddy. He visited his buddy in the hospital. He looks at the IV bag. That ain't no good. He pulls out a can of beer, puts the IV in the beer. His buddy's like, yeah. I'm like, that.
Yeah, he was always good. He got overshadowed by the whole Crocodile Dundee thing, but yeah.
Yeah, he was always good. He was always good. I remember
He was the original voice of the guy doing the narration for Outback Steakhouse, and then they replaced him with a non-Aussie, and I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, he got famous for doing Australian tourism. Australia had it was really popular in the 80s. I don't know if you guys, you might have.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
there was
part of the
this
reason why they had that whole Australia craze. And
Yahoo Serious.
That was weird. Yeah. Oh God.
Good Lord.
I saw
Well,
that.
that's
in the
what ended
theater,
it.
too.
That was what ended
Yeah,
it.
that's what ended it. Yeah.
I believe he was in even a World War I movie about Gallipoli at one point. Paul Hogan.
Yeah, but I just want to ask Gary one more thing about Doctor Who. Like I said, with Star Trek Discovery, The Last Jedi, I mean, there's no chance we're going to be able to put the genie's going back in the bottle. This is going to be a permanent thing in pop culture where we have, I don't want to call people NPCs, but we're all, and we even saw it today. I saw Ethan Van Sciver's channel. They're talking, people want gay representation in Star Wars. They want Poe to be gay.
Oh, I was yelled about that.
YouTube's weird. I swear, long before the movie came out, there was talk there was going to be a lesbian character in Star Wars. I swear there was an article about that years ago. I don't know if that ever happened or not.
It's Fembot 3000. It's Fembot 3000.
I'm just gonna quote that episode. It's like, when a man and a woman do it, they create things important. But when a robot and a person do it, it creates nothing.
Robosexuality is an abomination. But yeah, but like I said, I keep thinking to myself though, every time I hear something about Ray, every time I hear about these people that talk about progressive, this is so great, representation. Where does this end? I mean, do you think this is just a phase, or do you think this is going to be a permanent part of the landscape?
I think it's going to get worse. I think they're gonna not stop until they get themselves in the theaters or in the movies and on TV, because that's what we really want. It kind of wraps into what you guys were saying earlier, where you want more interactivity, you want to be the creators, you want to participate. And that's what they want. They want to be in the movie, and they're not going to stop until they see themselves in there.
They don't want to be in the movie. They want to be the director. They want to be the people making the decisions. That's what they want.
Yeah. Well, not just that, they see it. Oh, sorry, Gary. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, Robb is actually, it's like I'm going to be using a girl hub, but it could be anybody. And she's like texting. She's like, I want to be an executive now. I mean, like they don't want to work their way up. It's really weird, Robb. To answer your question, yeah, I think the pendulum is going to swing the other way because they're just going to bury this shit. It'll change when people stop buying it, and I think that's starting to happen now. Audience rating is a barometer on Rotten Tomatoes. It is not fact or anything, but as that number goes up, and it's past 4,000 votes now, that's the same amount of people they use political polls with. Not that they're great.
Am I the only person who never ever reads the audience reviews? I just read the critical reviews and just move on.
I didn't read them that much until
I just kind of glance at the ratings just out of curiosity. But I think it is gonna take, I think, a couple high profile franchises to fail. Like I said, if the episode 9, let's just say it underperforms, makes under $1 billion, I think that is going to be sort of I think that is going to be the turning point for this kind of thing.
Oh yeah. Oh, and it's not going to make $1 billion. It's not. And they have that, that whole land opening up in Disneyland, which, I don't know if I've told you guys the story, but they had a choice to make. They could have done, they're doing Marvel, but they could have used that area for a bigger Marvel land. And I saw the plans for it. I was working with a friend for Disney. We did a little work on at Disneyland, and I was able to see it. Now, they were just plans. And at the time they were like, oh, we might open this up in Japan, or here. We're not sure. And it was awesome. It had a Baxter building and a fucking Silver Surfer ride and everything. It was amazing. It had, Central Park. It was Central Park, and it had, the Daily Bugle and the Baxter building. And then they had some Asgard thing in the background. Yeah, it was cool as hell, but they decided to go with Star Wars instead.
About Eric Hawk, thank you for the $5. For Star Trek, is there anybody out there who cares over the franchise, over their bloody egos and agendas? No, they're dead now.
Well, Robert Meyer Burnett was saying John Van Sitter's he actually is a big supporter of Star Trek, and he said there's a guy who knows this stuff. He loves Star Trek, and he said it's a good thing that he's going to have some control of the series. But I think for Star Trek, it's just too little, too late.
You got to bring back the spaced ashes of Gene Roddenberry, and then maybe you can get somewhere.
I think Star Trek has a lot going for it, more so than something like Star Wars that isn't a straight continuum of movies, as opposed to Star Trek, where they have tried different things over the years that haven't always worked, and they explain it off in some way or kind of forget about it in another way. I think STD is going to be one of those things down the road we all just kind of forget about. I mean, it was like, you tell me how the end of Enterprise really came about, other than they wanted a way for fans to say, well, it doesn't matter, it's technically not canon because it was fake or whatever. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Not to spoil the ending, but I did want to kind of shift some gears here on the conversation. I'm going to let Robb and Gary take this on because I don't want anybody else getting into it, because we don't need anybody ganging up, because I'm going to start a fight. Spider-Verse, go.
No.
Oh boy.
Oh, I liked it. Yeah, I liked it a lot. I know you didn't. So why didn't you like it?
It looked cheap. It gave me a headache. It looked like a poorly rendered PS1 cutscene. The plot seemed to be strung together by one contrivance after another. A lot of happenstance. The one interesting character that I did like was Spider-Gwen, and she really didn't do anything, and neither did any of the other characters. And the other problem I had was, like I said, you sucked a version of Peter Parker through the wormhole, and you made him a stand-in for what they think the audience is, a bunch of like overweight 40-year-old out of shape burger eating losers. And I said, you know what, go fuck yourself, Phil Lord. Okay. Geez, that's what that's the kind of contempt you have for everybody. For everybody going for people who like Spider-Man, really, it just rubbed me the wrong way. And then I said, and honestly, I got 20 minutes into the movie, and I said to myself, "Am I in the wrong theater? Did they forget to give me my 3D glasses because the backgrounds look blurry?" And I said, "Wait a minute, I think it's supposed to be like this. You got to be fucking kidding me." You know, I understand the idea. They wanted to make it look like a comic book that went in. When it was printed, the plates were slightly out of alignment, and it created that sort of blurred kind of color washing effect. But it's just like, I really didn't need to see that. And the other thing too is Mecha has said repeatedly that they are making television for people who don't watch television, who look at their phones and text, and when they see a flash or when they hear an explosion, it's time to look up. This whole movie just seems to be engineered for people who don't watch movies to prevent you from looking down at your phone and start texting, because it's an absolute visual bombardment of information. There's something happening. Throw everything on the screen at once so that you don't get a chance to process anything. As if they're saying, yeah, just keep the action going. Yeah, these kids have ADHD anyway. We can't let them process anything. What's the story? It doesn't matter. Just pick up a bunch of shit with a large super collider and wormhole and a bunch of other spider people. Like I said, it just rubbed me the wrong way, this movie. And the people who, I'm not saying it's necessarily I did say it was a bad film. I say it's nowhere near as good as everybody's saying it is. But the other thing too is it just seems like it's a Sony focus group that they're throwing everything on the screen. Let's see what sticks. Let's see who fans react to, and that's where we're gonna go from here. And they're actually gonna do an all-female Spider-Man, all Spider people movie with Spider-Gwen. And the other thing too is the Aunt May scene. Aunt May is they deliberately made her look like Amy Pascal, and she's holding the keys to the franchise. That's a subtle fuck you to Kevin Feige.
Well, you have more stuff, Rob, and just save it for a little bit. Let's let Gary kind of rebuttal some of the stuff.
Let me just say this, which is round 2 fight.
Well, it ain't round 2 yet because Gary's got to say his part. Then it'll be round 2. I want to let Gary kind of rebuttal some of that before Rob gives even more, because I know Rob has more.
I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
So the first question, I mean, like, listen, I don't have anything personally invested in this film. Why I liked it, because it's a cartoon. It's simply a cartoon. If this was live action and Sony tried to push this, I would feel differently about this, but I'll preface this by saying that Marvel Comics has done more damage to the brand Spider-Man than than in the MCU or Sony could ever fucking dream of. Now, Peter Parker that we see in there is Sam Raimi's Peter Parker. It's not the 616 Peter Parker. Okay, it's Sam Raimi's Peter Parker.
Well, yeah,
it's the one from the movies. So that's one aspect of it. The other one we saw was kind of a nod to Ben Reilly. To me, that until they showed him behind the mask, that first 10 minutes where they're showing like the perfect Spider-Man, like, hey, I'm Spider-Man. I've been doing it for 10 years. I thought that was rad. I thought it was great. Yeah, he had blonde hair, but this is just a cartoon. It doesn't have anything to do with 616 canon or MCU canon. You got to try to look at the movie behind the politics from Sony and to try to enjoy it. That might have had something to do with it. Listen, my kid who watches your videos and Midnight's Edge videos was worried about this too. He's all, is this going to affect the MCU? And I'm like, no, it's not, because it didn't make enough money to even matter. The frame rates were dropping like crazy. There was patterns on the people's skins, and I was watching it in a digital theater, and it did kind of look like shit. But I'm 50.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 50. So I'm 49, but I'm going. So I'm there with my 13-year-old kid who freaking loved it, who is a Spider-Man purist like I am an absolute Spider-Man purist. But like I said, Marvel has already killed the character. One more day ended Spider-Man. It ended it. It ended it for a lot of fans. I saw people. I had the store at the time, so that's why I've kind of moved on from giving a shit, because comic books is the proving ground for what we're dealing with now in films with Star Wars and everything. Comic books have been fucking up their characters for the last 10 years. So it's kind of done. It's kind of dead at this point. It's just like, it's just a Spider-Man movie, a character I used to love that I don't anymore. I own every comic up to issue 600 of Amazing Spider-Man. And I'm talking everyone, foreign reprints, everything. And I enjoyed it for what it was. They actually portrayed a good father in it. I thought the Prowler was the first time that character actually looked interesting to me. I wasn't crazy about the animation style, but again, it's a cartoon. If you want to get upset about something, I mean, get upset about Homecoming. I thought Homecoming was way worse than this. I hated Homecoming.
I thought Homecoming was decent, mind you, decent. I thought it had a lot of problems, which kept it from being great. That's the whole thing. You could.
I will say in Homecoming's defense, I liked that version of Peter Parker better. I get it; it's supposed to be an older one in Spider-Verse, and I'm not trying to gang up on Gary here either.
I don't feel ganged up on it.
That's why I'm trying to stay out of it. I don't want anybody to feel like anybody's getting ganged up on it, because I feel a lot of the same things Rob did. But I was like, why did they have to change some of Miles' background to make him even more like Peter Parker?
I've never liked, truth be known, I've never liked Miles Morales. I thought he was a little douche when he first introduced him. And to me, this just made him seem even more douchey. The fact that they kept trying to make him more, they kept trying. It's almost like saying, oh yeah, he's cool. Yeah, he's really cool. Look, he's cool. He's cool. Isn't he cool? Isn't he cool? Sort of like that cloying, ingratiating sort of friend you have that tries to. It's sort of like almost like a George Costanza-esque approach to it, that you try so hard to make me like him that just makes me get turned off even more. And
is it like liking Spock? Like they try so hard, like this is a likable character. You like this character. See, you like that.
That's what I felt like. Yeah, that's what I felt like. They tried so
hard get that vibe
for me to like him. Yeah. And the other thing too,
I don't love Miles Morales, and I hate him being in the 616. I hate it, but
in my review, I just call him douche at every opportunity.
Well,
he's Spider Boy. That's
what my thing too, to finish off what I said before, is they had to make him more like Peter Parker, and not only that, they added stereotypes to him. Other than that, he's basically Peter Parker. He loses his uncle. There. Yeah, he loses his uncle and all this other kind of stuff. He's a smart, misunderstood kid, just like Peter is.
Well, he lives
almost the same set of circumstances. He does have his living with his parents, but he does lose his uncle in a way that it mirrors Peter Parker. And then also my problem is he can't do a damn thing until the last 5 minutes of the movie when he's needed, according to his idea of the situation. And I'm not going to argue that part, because like I said, I don't want to feel like I'm ganging up on it. I just want to kind of add to it in a sense of how it just felt very Gary Stu at that moment. Like all of a sudden he has all these great powers that he knows how to use, even though 10 minutes ago he couldn't.
I've had these freakouts though. I mean, I had Robb's freak out like when Spider-Man came out at the comic shop. I hated it, but people loved it when it first came out. People loved it. They did. They were buying it hand over fist. There was money coming in. It was like printing money selling that damn book.
Yeah,
but I think it had potential that they fucked with, because that was prior to SJW Marvel kicking in. But you could see the seeds of it growing. God, that was one thing I was worried about it back then. It actually started with SJW Marvel. Actually started with DC. You older comic fans will know that the New 52 was the precursor to all that shit. And Marvel said, hey, yeah, hold my beer, watch this, and made it worse. But as far as the movie concerned, it being animated, like I don't count those as real movies.
Right.
Yeah, I just like don't get. I mean, I love Robb's passion, but I was like, if it was a live action movie and they were like trying to put this into the MCU or something, oh, that's a whole different story.
Well, I know that's just for in general animation, or is it just this segment when you said you don't take it seriously?
You know what? It's kind of a shitty thing about getting old. I don't disdain animated movies or anything. I just don't count them as they're cartoons to me, and it sucks because I used to feel a different way, and maybe it's again I'm getting old. They're not.
I
made
get
for
what
me.
Gary's saying.
Oh, I'm gonna tag team in this fight now.
I totally do, even though I love animation. Don't get me wrong on that, and you'll get a second to maybe say something about that, Tyler. I just want to say I know Rob. He'll probably give his Luke Skywalker argument.
Steven Anderson, how was the New 52 SJW? What? Come on.
That's a totally different show, isn't it? I mean, enough shit to get into there. But what I was trying to say was just I think what rubbed Rob and I the wrong way wasn't so much it was a cartoon, because that part you can go into like, okay, yeah, it doesn't count because it's not live action. It doesn't count in any kind of canon. It's not Sony trying to set up, a live action Spider-Man universe. It's an animated Spider-Verse. Okay, fine. We would have definitely had no problems if it was straight to video or even with it being in the theater, because the problem is how much people are toting it as like the best Spider-Man movie ever.
Yeah, not even close.
No. When I walked out on my review, I said, the problem is with this, and this I can maybe is what behind some of your anger, which I would actually agree with, is there's been so many Spider-Man movies with Peter Parker. There's a big swath of the general audience there who's like, I feel like I've seen enough Peter Parker, and I want to scream like, you haven't seen him yet. You have yet to see the real Peter Parker. Actually, I can make the argument about Batman too. You have not seen the comic book Peter Parker at all on screen. Sam Raimi got the closest. He did the best job with the first two movies. But we have not seen fully established late 20s, early 30s Peter Parker, which is the vast majority of the comics. All this Spider-Boy and young Spider-Man, that's a small percentage. He was young in the beginning, like just for a little while. You're basically seeing Ultimate Spider-Man now, which is not a definitive Spider-Man. I mean, it's decent, it's good, but that's my biggest problem with Tom Holland. It's like, we're basing Spider-Man on like 4% of it, not even that, 3% of his comics.
The high school era Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? The later, more established Peter Parker is actually closer to the Peter Parker they show in the PS4 game.
I was about to get mentioned. Like, what do you think of the PS4 game?
That's brilliant. It's absolutely just what I've been watching my kid play. But it's the best Spider-Man story I've seen in years, and that's I'm including comic books. It's so good. So that part of Sony really understands Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's Insomniac. Yeah, one of the things too, as actually Tom was just about to bring it up.
Or Insomniac, sorry.
Yeah, well, it's kind of the same thing. Well, anyway.
I don't know dick about games. So.
Well, anyway. One thing I noticed is that, and actually I put it in my review, I showed the parallels, the burger eating scene and the titty milk drinking scene from The Last Jedi. And that section of the movie, that middle section where the reluctant teacher and the student who were worshiping his hero, that is like, you're just pulling another Last Jedi here. Really, how many times? I mean, really, we got to see this again, the broken down hero training, being the reluctant teacher. I mean, this whole deconstruction phase that Hollywood is going through, it is really starting to show me that, listen, just admit, we're just like Chris Chibnall, you're out of ideas, okay? Just admit to me you're out of ideas. And the one character I did want to see, Miguel O'Hara, they turned into a punchline. That's actually, I got really ticked off about that, because if there's anything, I think an animated movie with Miguel O'Hara, the Spider-Man 2099 movie, would be far more interesting.
Especially if they based it on what's the name of the video game? Oh God, Dimensions in Time.
Shattered Dimensions.
Shattered Dimensions. Yeah. God, that was a good game. That was
the biggest problem I had though with Shattered Dimensions was that Spider-Man spent a lot of time running places. I'm like, he's got such a cool way to get around, and you show him running.
Well, that's one of the things I liked about Homecoming is they finally did that thing. Like, what is Spider-Man going to do if he has nothing to latch on to? He's got that long field of nothing. It's like that. I'm sorry, I liked that.
No, that was my favorite part about the cartoon. He was always shooting his web at like Sky and just taking
which
off,
cartoon though?
Well, all of them.
Amazing, spectacular. The 1960s show.
The 60s and the 90s one. Yes.
Yeah, it just goes off into into space and just off camera. Yeah.
What is he attaching it to, a satellite?
Yeah, maybe.
Which, by the way, isn't that? Correct me if I'm wrong. Doesn't the ending of Spider-Verse make a reference to the 1960s show?
Yeah, it does.
It does, and that's
the 2099.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. But no, I will say in the defense of this movie, at least, we do get old Spider-Man going to the fight and telling young Miles Morales to stay behind. That would be like if Luke were to say to Rey, stay here, I'm gonna go take care of this. Just stay off my lawn.
Yep.
But we didn't get that in Last Jedi. We got that here. I will give this movie that much to a point, but my problem was when Miles Morales had decided to show up and save the day, and it was all, he has all his powers. Not only that, he wastes God knows how long spray painting a costume.
Well, he doesn't die as a hologram doing nothing.
Like I said, the suspension of disbelief only goes so far, as I always say.
Right.
But
It was see at that point. That's where things like that slowed the movie down, and it just kind of took me out of it. And there were things I didn't mind in the movie, and that's where I'm giving Gary that much as far as like I said, outside of your TLJ. I think you're spot on with your TLJ argument. Unfortunately, here though, to go against what you're saying, Rob, is that we actually get the payoff here to a point more so than we do with Last Jedi.
Yeah. Yeah, I was watching movie Bob. He was hinting at that there might have been a history between Aunt May and the
Aunt May Pascal,
Aunt May Pascal and Lady Doc Ock. And I said, no, you're giving them way too much credit. They're not that clever. So
you realize Amy and May can be spelled the same way, right?
They're an anagram or whatever that is.
Yeah,
there you go. But one of the other things too, it just seems like I said, it's to appeal. This seems like it was a movie to appeal to the Tumblr crowd who thinks that they know comics, because everything is just kind of LOL, so random.
I was worried it was going to be full on SJW Marvel, and it wasn't, with Spider-Gwen, a character I cannot stand. They won't have Spider Robb and Spider Gary. I think that's just dumb. And even with her haircut, but you're right. She was one of the better characters in it. But to your argument, it performed like a movie for the Tumblr crowd. Like they would love to talk about it, but they didn't actually have enough money to go buy tickets to go see it.
That's the thing, is they make shit here.
For my box office mojo, it just broke even this weekend. $91 million it brought in.
Well, that's not even really even.
That's not breaking in. More like 180.
Is Tumblr shipping Miles and Old Peter yet? Is that kind of what they do over there?
Probably are.
No, but that means it will possibly break 100 million, but not much more than that.
They were expecting a lot more, right? Weren't they?
Well, it's Spider-Man.
I don't know what they were
expecting. What
were they expecting?
Exactly.
That's the important question.
Even as a cartoon, it should have done 300 million easy.
Yeah,
in the US.
I think you're gonna have a lot of people like me who are just like, I'll wait for the live action one, because
I'll say this: beside Aquaman,
it
looks like everything's underperforming this week.
Yeah. One of the things
but Mecha, sorry, Robin, you can go after this, but you have to remember, Mecha, people like Gary who took their kid to it. That's the thing, is you had a lot of people dragging their kids, so that's 2 or 3 tickets you're buying at the same time.
That's true, but you also have
that means a lot of people are not going to see this movie.
Yeah, because you got Bumblebee and Aquaman out at the same time as well.
And Aquaman's just kicking ass.
Yeah, they're both good. I saw Bumblebee today, very good. It's very slow. I think you guys would like it. So it doesn't have a lot of jerky.
Not to mention, in the animation world, they still had to fight with Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the one I kept bringing up as an example. It's like, how can Wreck-It Ralph do as well as it did compared to Spider-Man?
Well, because I think a lot of people just know Spider-Man. They're like, that doesn't look like Spider-Man.
And that's one of the arguments I actually said when do I have to mention his name? When Jeff, 95% certain Peter Parker won't be white in the next movie, Snyder said, "Oh yeah, Peter Parker's not going to be white." I said, they're not going to make Miles, and a lot of people kept banging the Miles Morales drum, including CBR, when they said, "Oh, Miles Morales should totally be the next Spider-Man." I said, they're not going to have their most popular and most profitable character sit on the sidelines. Go to any Walmart or Target, look at all the Spider-Man shit on shelves, and it is not the Miles Morales shit. And said, as soon as you have Spider-Man show up, throw a web, and then he takes off the mask, and it's Miles Morales, they're going to say, the people who know about Spider-Man for 50 years of comics, cartoons, video games, toys, and a daily comic strip are going to say, "Who is this douchebag, and what did you do with Peter Parker?" I mean, it's like,
I don't know if I'd go to that extreme, but I did point out, they must not have felt that Miles could have carried a movie on his own, even an animated one, if they had to bring in all these other versions of Spider-Man to go with him.
And all the marketing actually suggested that these characters were going to be a bigger part of this movie.
Oh, no, they were only in the last 10 minutes of the movie.
Well, yeah, everyone, you could probably tell that, though, from the way they trailerized it, that this is going to be something that's not really that big.
Well, minus Peter Parker and Spider-Gwen, but still, they don't really give Spider-Gwen a whole lot.
I know it's a weird thing for me, but I know she's voiced by Haley Stanfield, but she looks a lot like Anya Taylor-Joy. That really bothers me.
Yeah, if I knew who that is, I agree with you.
Yeah, I have no idea who that is.
I would have left it alone, though. I wouldn't have cared, Gary, and I totally get where you're coming from on, it's mostly harmless, and that reference.
Okay, let me say that a little bit more easier. The girl from True Grit looks a lot like the girl from Split.
Okay. Okay, gotcha.
Well, one of the other things too is that Amy Pascal is she was going to try to leverage this to get a better deal from Kevin Feige or to yank Tom Holland out of the MCU and put him in, because Tom Holland was supposed to appear in 5 MCU movies, but he has a 6th on his contract
for Spider-Man, for a third Spider-Man film, or at least appearance as Spider-Man in a Sony movie.
Yeah. So to me, she was banking on this doing a lot better than it did, so that she could either get a better deal from Kevin Feige or that she could yank Peter Parker out of the MCU and put him in a Spider-Man movie, because she would have the confidence. She'd be able to dupe an unsuspecting public and say, look, Spider-Man, look at Spider-Man. He's in a movie. Is this the MCU? No, never mind about that. Don't worry about that.
Or do you think they're going to shift gears now, though, since Spider-Verse didn't do so well? You notice we've heard quite a few stories about how Sony's eager to continue their deal with Marvel since this movie's come out. What do you think about that, Gary?
I think that's where they're going. I was worried when I was right there with you with Venom. It almost made me feel bad for liking it for what it was. I was like, oh my God, I'm contributing to something very bad here.
Speaking of Venom, is it a bit weird that they didn't actually throw in any cameos for Venom in that movie?
Yeah. Actually, it was.
I think I even read somewhere once that they were thinking about having Tom Hardy have a cameo, but they cut it at some point.
But here's a good question. Now, what happens to Morbius and Kraven the Hunter? I mean,
who gives a shit?
They're gonna bomb so hard.
Do you think Sony's still gonna go through with it, even though they're gonna bomb bigger than Nagasaki?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think that. But Amy Pascal, I don't know. She's a really shrewd business person when it comes to saving her own ass and putting herself in charge of the Spider-Man franchise.
Is she though? She is the woman that got fired for a racist.
Yeah,
comment.
But when she got fired, what she did the next move was putting herself in charge of Spider-Man. That was her last move on the way out the door. Is like, okay, I'm in charge of Spider-Man. Here, Rothman, you're the CEO, and now I basically run Sony because it's their only property.
Tyler, thank you, Amy. Oh, it's so nice to be on board here.
Tyler, I got to say to that, yeah, she said some racist comments, but that ain't nothing compared to some of the other shit that people have done in Hollywood. So,
I know, but the thing is, it's always
the only reason she got in trouble is because she got caught. Yeah,
yep.
This is the old almost the mafia way of saying it, where it's like if nobody saw it, it didn't happen.
K-Mation asks, how did Venom get so much money? Because Tom Hardy is a huge star in China.
I guess because people thought it was an actual Marvel movie.
And it looked like all the movie posters looked very appealing to the Asian audience too.
Mecha and I brought that up a couple times, I think, too, about how it had a lot of influence over it that would reach beyond Venom itself. And you're right, Tyler, it probably did have some confusion over there over the Marvel branding, even more so than here.
I mean, it confused the hell out of even Feige. Why not the average person?
Hey, the reason Aquaman turned out the way it did, being just a basic entertainment movie, and the whole rub on Venom, good or bad, is it felt like an early 2000s movie, is because of China. Maybe we should be thanking them right now. That we're bringing movies back to just a basic level. And yes, our standards have gone way the hell down. Yeah. And that's I mean, that's why I loved Aquaman. It was just a basic movie that didn't preach shit to me. It had a pretty diverse cast, but it didn't make a big deal about it. And it just entertained me. And I'm like, holy crap. And that's probably because of China.
From what I can see, it's a big dumb movie starring Aquaman. Some people are okay with that, and some are not.
Well, is it sad that our standards have gotten so low that all we have to do is like, okay, to make this movie, to give this movie a good review, did it preach diversity at me? Did the filmmakers insult me and insult audience members?
Was it as bad as Justice League?
But grading curve has gone down.
But the thing is,
that might be helpful. It's like it's no Justice League.
But the thing is, if the people who actually cared about those things actually went to the movies, we wouldn't be having this discussion.
Well, and people did go to Venom and Aquaman.
That's true. Amy Pascal was trying to do a Cleopatra movie with Angelina Jolie. Does she not understand how history works? Because isn't that what almost killed Paramount back in the day? Was Cleopatra?
It was Fox, but unless you're talking about a different version, but
no, it's the Elizabeth Taylor version.
That one I think did really.
I think that was Fox.
Amy, you're really gonna try that again?
Yeah, Sony's still not doing great. I mean, they're doing okay.
Doing better.
But if they have a couple of bombs, they're right back where they were, and Paramount's.
I think
trouble right now.
Apple's going to buy them. What do you think about that, Gary?
I agree. They've been really quiet lately, and they
now.
have
Do you know
tons of liquid.
anything on this? Because I know you used to work a little bit on the inside. Do you know any rumors, any bumblings about whether or not if Apple does buy Sony Entertainment, being the movie division, Columbia Pictures, TriStar, that part, does that mean that the rights to Spider-Man revert back to Marvel then instead of carrying over since they're not buying all of Sony?
I think they keep the rights. I think they would probably make it part of the deal. Like, why would you buy Sony unless they just separate it? But if you bought Sony, then you buy Sony with who has the right. It's not like somebody within Sony has the rights. Sony has the rights.
Right.
Unless it's written within Marvel's contract, which I doubt.
Right.
There's so many, sales
well,
right now.
That was something that kept getting brought up with the Fox Disney sale. And if Universal Comcast were to come in at the last minute and buy Fox, that a lot of people were saying, oh, it doesn't matter because the rights will revert anyway, since they wouldn't be buying all of Fox. They're just buying one portion of it.
Unless they relinquished it and they made it part of the price. Like, okay, we're going to give Disney. Yeah.
And who's to know? Because I've never seen one of those contracts. I'd love to see, especially one from back then when they were hurting, how bad of a deal they probably made for like X-Men and Spider-Man and all these other characters that were still out there.
Well, one question though, if Apple does buy Sony, what happens to the video game division? Do you think?
I think Sony plans on keeping that.
Yeah, that's the video game is their own business.
And that's what I'm saying. Things would be getting broke up, and legal people have come at us and said different kinds of things, and and you can't always believe them all because it's like my brother's cousin, is a lawyer, and he says.
Do you think Apple just buys Sony film pictures and television?
That's what I'm thinking. Is they just buy the division for the entertainment part
and a catalog.
Like all the Columbia stuff that they've got, all the
Seinfeld and Wheel of Fortune.
And that's the other thing. Do they get rid of the television portion though too? Because that's the thing. Is Sony looking at it? That's what you got to question. Here's the thing I think we're not looking at is, does this mean Sony has no intention of continuing trying to fucking push like Crackle or even trying some kind of Sony larger, subscription-based streaming service?
Well, if Sony,
that's a good question.
If Sony gets sold to Apple, then Crackle just moves over to Apple TV, which is it part of Apple TV right now as it is?
That's what I'm thinking. They're seeing this as, fuck it, we ain't got the source, the resources to. We've got some of the catalog stuff and the television stuff to get it going, but Crackle ain't doing shit for us free. You can get Crackle for free. You don't have to pay a dime for it, and it's almost all kinds of it's all kinds of Sony television and movies. Do they see that as well? We're not going to be able to charge people for this shit. They're not going to buy it, so we might as well sell it to the next best bidder.
Well, on their own, they're not like you said. When all this is all said and done, there's only going to be 3 or 4 left. Sony doesn't have the catalog for that stuff. Apple, Apple still has a ton of money and they're doing well with the phone. But like, what have we heard from Apple lately? I mean, it's really been kind of sad what's happened to Apple. I'm a big Mac guy with computers.
They've got the resources to compete. That's the thing.
For now, they just built this giant spaceship facility.
They got more money than anybody. That's the thing.
We're making it sound like the Demolition Man franchise wars.
We have to remember that like companies like Apple and stuff have more money than Disney, Fox, Warner Brothers.
Yeah, but they have to maintain a certain. They have to because of the stockholders. Even though they have a bunch of liquid, they have to still be making. The stock has to do better each year, and it seems like it's kind of dead right now, or they've just leveled off and played it safe.
Nobody wants to buy a new iPhone every year. That's the thing.
Yeah, but see, that's where I think they're seeing maybe that digital streaming is the next thing. Well, what they want to sell you is then the little portable, for your iPhone. They want you to watch Apple streaming on their shit. And if they've got the Sony catalog plus whatever new entertainment they come up with, and like Robbie said, even if they get the Sony television catalog, that's a big deal because you got shit like Seinfeld in there and everything, and old game shows and everything like that. Even newer ones. So I mean, there's a lot there that they could. And if it's not just Sony, they're going to go after. I guarantee you, they're going to go after somebody else.
Jeff Bezos isn't just a rich man; he's a Telosian alien from the cage.
Yeah,
MGM and probably a few others. I'm sure they'll go after too.
Yeah.
They got Ronald D. Moore is writing a show for him. For
And this
Apple.
kind of stuff can bring back instant revenue, is what I'm getting.
Yep.
But one of the other things too is
They got to hurry.
and actually Mike Francesa brought this up too. He was actually one of the first. He said this actually about a year ago, right before he quote unquote retired, and he just came back. He said he thought Apple was actually going to make a big push for the NFL
I'm not surprised.
because when and that's the one the NFL has been trying to get more into streaming, and
If there's one thing in entertainment that competes with movies, it's got to be the NFL and video games. Those are the two things that compete.
The best they're gonna get is the XFL.
But he said that's the one thing that the cable and cable has on streaming right now is live sports, and you can see like NBA Pass and stuff like that, MLB TV, NHL Sunrise. They've been trying to get more into sports, but they haven't been able to get that one plum, the NFL. And he said he thought that maybe Apple was going to try to make a big push for it, either Apple or Amazon. And as soon as that happens, he said all bets are off.
TV contracts up in 2 years?
2021, I think.
And there's going to be a strike. So there'll be a strike that year.
Carrying some, but that's through their other shit though too. I think.
Yep.
I don't think Roger Goodell.
Listen, they can't get and it's all over Reddit too. I mean, like there are kids, like my kids. Yeah, well, I'm gonna rant my kid out. He watches it on Reddit. So
Roger Goodell's mom doesn't respect him.
No.
Nakashima Izuna, actually, Amazon has a deal with the NFL for Thursday Night Football. Yeah,
That's
for
what I
Thursday
was
Night
thinking
Football,
of, yeah.
but it's still on the NFL Network, and your local game is still. Yeah, we're talking about but I mean that's for right now they have that. We're talking about putting together a streaming package for the NFL for
kind of like the NFL deal for DirecTV kind of thing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And like I said, but the other big problem is that broadband still doesn't have the penetration in the US needed for something like that. That's the other thing. I mean, we got to get on. Let me tell you, Andre, he tells us about his internet speed. I'm like, you motherfucker, I would give my right nut for those kind of internet speeds at that price. And, we've deregulated, not to bring deregulation into this, but we've deregulated to the point. And the only thing deregulation means in America is you could charge whatever you want for something.
Well, what this means is whoever you go through for your service, they're going to have either a deal or it's going to be like AT&T or Comcast or whoever it is, where they're going to make sure that whoever you go for your service, you're going to get the best performance and maybe even a free, it'll seem like it's free, version of it through your phone or whatever it is that you're going through.
Well, that's another big thing though too. Apple would buy, what do you think the NFL is going to be streamed on? Would be streamed on.
That's what I was.
Phone.
Yeah, that's what I was getting.
That's what Apple wants. I'm sure it's not even in kilowatts, probably in like squirrels.
But like what Gary was saying, Apple has this, that, and the other. What are they doing? Well, that's the thing is, okay, they want you to buy an Apple phone where you stream the Apple, TV service on there where you have movies and television and you pay for the ones they don't have the rights to, but you get the other ones, quote unquote, for free. But because you pay for it through your service, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's.
I just realized we haven't let Madam Midnight speak in a while.
Sorry.
We're talking sports.
You're talking sports ball. I'm like,
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, Mecha has been quiet.
Actually, one thing
Gary's brain when he's here too, because he has a lot of insight into this stuff.
Somebody actually brought up in the chat something about that. Not to switch gears too abruptly though. Shadowhound, Disney should sell Marvel Comics to Netflix. Gary, what do you think is going to happen? You're opening a comic shop. You had a comic shop. What do you think is going to happen to Marvel Comics? Are they going to shut down, or are they going to try to keep it afloat?
They don't need them.
The MCU is kind of pretty much keeping it afloat right now. So if that thing ever falters, comics is dying a slow death. I don't have much hope for them. Like the kind of shop I'm opening is going to be pretty much based on old stuff. So I'm not going to be selling a lot of new,
more collectible stuff.
Yeah, it's more collectible, secondhand. Like I'll sell back issues and stuff, but all the comic book shops I've seen, their new release rack is nothing now. I don't have much hope for Marvel. No, they're not going to turn it around.
Probably has a dump truck full of money on standby if Kevin Feige ever says he wants to stop.
Which he might.
We also have Well, we also have to look at it this way. When comics first came out, they were a medium much like radio. You know, it was like you had this thing, and then television came along and kind of took over. Comics did kind of creep into other mediums, but they've never really graduated from the paper to another medium, like stuff from television, you know, like radio did to television into movies and so on, you know, or movies first, actually. But, you know, and I think that's kind of where it's like, you know, look at where the libraries are going. We just brought this up the other night, too. I noticed my local library has a hell of a lot more DVDs than they do books and shit anymore. It's like, so is that kind of where things are going? Is television and movies are the next kind of
hilariously the library is the only place I've ever actually seen a copy of The Artist.
I keep saying if you watch The Artist, if you went to see The Artist because it was a silent movie, did you get half off?
But to get to what I was just saying, though, is, I mean, do you kind of eventually just see comic books themselves kind of going away? We will still probably have digital versions to a point in animation and television, that kind of a thing. But, you know, are they going to finally just see it as a dead kind of way of distributing this entertainment?
You know, even if you asked me 2 years ago, I would have said no, but it's gone so far down now. I think there'll be graphic novels. There'll always be comics of some form, like there's vinyl, but it's never. I don't know if it's going to be able to support shops anymore. Yeah. By the way, in January and February, we're gonna get another bloodletting of stores. If they didn't have if the stores, you know, most comic stores are playing it really close to the vest. If they didn't have a good holiday season, it's usually January, February. You start seeing either GoFundMe's go up or sayonara's. And I know 3 shops that didn't have good Christmases, and they're done. They're done. They're going to announce it in January. So we've lost 70 in the last 20 months. 70 comic shops when we only had 2,000.
Get out there to your local comic shop, support them.
Yeah.
No, I don't. But the you have is the soon-to-be ghost of Alan Moore.
Well, one of the things we keep saying, and we brought it up actually from New York Comic Con when they had that retailers summit there. The guy stands up and he says to one of the guys from Marvel, he says, "Listen, you're giving me comics I can't sell. Kids are seeing the guys in the movies, and they come in. You have a gay Iceman, you have a black Captain America. I mean, they're looking for the guys in the movies." And they're not finding them, and they're walking out empty-handed. You're not giving us inventory that we can move.
They just need to go and look at like the flea markets and swap meets and stuff, because that's where a lot of people who have like little retail shops end up. And I don't know if it's the same like out in San Francisco or wherever else, but I mean, I see a lot of like booths of, you know, comic books, you know, like the older vintage stuff that, you know, people's like collections or people's shop inventories that they end up like trying to haul out and sell.
Yeah. Honestly, like pop-ups might be the future, but I've seen, you know, I've seen a lot more too.
Because there's always a bait and switch or some sort of dumb plot line, like the stuff with was it Batman and Catwoman this year?
Oh, that was terrible.
Yeah, I knew that was terrible because they're never gonna ever stick to anything. Every character has always been evil or good or.
But I mean,
races or different orientations.
The story's not supposed to end. That's part of the deal. I mean, you get into comic books, you know, you were not getting an ending ever. It's just supposed to be something fun, and it was a habitual thing you used to be able to do, but less people read now. The video games like killed it. You know, that's pretty much what did it in. But there'll always be a comic shop like in the big cities. You know, that you'll like San Francisco will have them, and LA, but you know, your little mom and pop out in the burbs, they're done. They can't afford that anymore.
Yeah. Video killed a comic book star.
Yep.
Another thing too, I mean, like I said, I mean, it just seems like Marvel, they would rather be certain than right. They keep going down this road where they think that the guy who shops at Whole Foods and drives a Prius and who will wait overnight at the Apple store for the new iPhone and pays $7 for a latte at his local coffee shop, poured by a Filipino lesbian barista or whatever.
Cat, who even did the Mockingjay cover that one time? You know what I'm talking about. Who's the artist?
Oh, that was Mike Diodato. The asked me about my feminist agenda. Yeah, that was Mike Diodato.
But like I said, you know, it seems like Marvel, they are willing to go down with the ship with this whole approach, and it's easy enough. It used to be, like I said, writers would have to cut their teeth. They'd go work at Charlton for a little while. And then actually Charlton used to be actually near where I am too, which actually used to be in Derby, Connecticut, which was actually pretty cool. But it just seems like they're getting these young adult writers who don't know the characters. They don't know any of the history. And they're just saying, well, this is the way this is now. And the more pushback they get from readers, they're just like, oh, we don't care. I mean,
no. The creators are the worst. Tristan, what you were commenting on there, Mecha, what Tristan R said is absolutely right. Have you seen the creators of the comics? These people have their heads so far up their asses. Listen, their act. There's okay. I used to work in the auto industry too, and the mechanics. There's a reason you have service writers. The mechanics are never to talk to the customers because, for one, they'll give them too much information, and they're fucking mechanics. They're good at fixing cars, and they're shitty at talking to people. Sorry, mechanics.
It's why you don't have
fucking comic artists are the same way. They're not. Customer service is a lost art, and the way they talk to customers, it's just, for when they're artists. Okay, so you can't listen. There's a reason they became good artists. They spent a lot of time alone in their room, honing their art and not really socializing with other human beings. So now that we have this thing called social media, we have a lot of people who were not really good at the whole people thing, peopling and doing it poorly and killing their own trade. And the people who are just on the fence about comics, they see, if they go on, if you're on Twitter and you see how they treat people, it's fucking awful. And then when people clap back, it's a whole kerfuffle on Twitter right now. That's horrible. And Donnie Cates got into it, who was, a pretty good writer, one of the last good writers out there. And, my hope goes down by the day for the comic industry, just what I've seen. And they dug their heels in and they don't give a shit. They're going to burn their own house down and they're going to stay in their house and burn with it. God damn it. Because we're right.
The problem,
whatever that is.
I'm recommending for my friends where it's like, where do I tell people where to start?
Well, there is places that's what the comic shop owner's for, but I mean, they've been no help either. I hate to call out my brethren, my sister and my brethren there, but they're part of the problem too. They haven't called out any of these creators on their bullshit. They want to side with them because everybody wants to be, I'm sorry for saying this, a star fucker. I mean, like, who cares? I mean, these are fucking comic book artists. They're a Z-list fucking celebrities. Sorry, comic artists, you're great, but you're nobodies. Okay,
Dan Slott and Chuck Wendig,
yeah, but they think they are just fucking something, and then like this shill media like falls all over themselves, sells out you guys in the chat, you guys out there who they're supposed to be reporting on, to get access to these people who don't give a shit about them or you. And listen, I worked with these people in the retailing, and like there is a disdain for fandom among some creators, not all. Some creators actually like their fans, and you can tell they're the ones who are nice on Twitter.
How's Michael Bendis fall on that line?
Listen, my personal interaction with him has been good, but that was a long time ago. That was before all this stuff started out. But that, I talked to him 10 years ago.
Are nice in person, but that might have been awful. I mean, Jesus Christ! I
heard about Slot.
I met the guy who played Nostalgia Critic. He seemed nice to me, but he seemed like, apparently he's an asshole and other people.
Yeah. It just depends. But I've heard comic creators calling fans mouth breathers. Like, I heard it with my own ears. So it's that's why I never felt the need to like get friendly with them at all. I'll sell their stuff, but I'd much rather hang out with somebody at the store and just talk to a comic fan. I don't need to talk to any artists or stars or anything like that. I don't, that's I'm not interested in it, and it really does make you biased. Like, I have one comic artist friend that I could never say anything bad about because I like the guy so much. So I mean, it's just best if I'm not. But the way they treat fans, this whole customer service thing is completely lost, and that's what we're here doing. That's what Mecha's doing. That's what Tom's doing. Doomcock. We're trying to just bring customer service back.
Which is something I was horrible at.
She didn't say my name.
I'm crap at customer service, but like at the end of the day, I understand that you're selling something to people, and when you get on Twitter or something, and I've even done it myself before I switched my channel over from gaming. I would get into it with like Discovery fans and stuff, and I would just be really nasty right back to them, and you get some of these people who kind of forget that, oh, you've got a blue check mark by your name. People like Chuck Wendig, somebody said, did someone say Chuck Wendig? Nihilist did in chat.
You've been wrong. How hard is to get that damn blue check mark on Twitter?
It's harder now. I think they've changed the criteria for it, but
hidden. Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
So Hidden Wiki says, "I know you where you live, Rob." Okay. Oh, like it's that hard to figure out. Okay, ready? Hidden Wiki. Bob Costas lives in St. Louis. Ooh. So I mean, that's he says it all the time. Like, so, yeah.
Here's the sad truth on the internet: if you wanted to find where someone lived, it doesn't take that much effort.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
There used to be things called the phone book, and there's versions of it online. So
There are.
Yeah, that goes into even more detail, like information about voting records or information.
Oh yeah, if you have
phone
somebody's like first and last name and kind of a general location where they're at, you can find anybody.
Yeah, public records aren't that. There's a reason why they're called public records.
Yeah.
But anyway,
state, but yeah.
But anyway, we were saying about how comic shops. One thing I keep saying that and this is going back. I'm old enough to remember. You remember too, Scary, the days of the old circular racks.
Yes,
Yes.
that's the ones I've seen most. We didn't have a comic book shop around here. We
Spinner
just had
rack.
those in gas
The spinners at gas stations.
I'm like,
That's what I'm saying. That's the only ones I have.
Yeah.
Some of them were
requires having like using your ID or something like that. I think that's what I read once. Is that true?
Used to be a lot of 7-Elevens. Used to be a lot of convenience stores.
I bought my first comic in a 7-Eleven for 25 cents.
Yeah, I mean, what would it be that horrible? And not to step on your toes, Gary, but would it be that horrible to put some of the bigger titles in spinner racks in 7-Elevens or somewhere?
Oh, I'd love that.
Go?
That would mean people were reading comics. I've even when I had a store, if I had a store, I'd want that tomorrow. I don't bitch about them being in Walmart. Yes, put comics in Walmart, put them in Target.
Spinner rack, or like tire rack. You probably want to burn some of these things that aren't selling.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Or they're not even good enough to donate now. They're just it's so bad right now. This is worse than the 90s. It's worse. This is the worst crash comic books have ever gone through. Ever. And I don't think they can recover from
your
this.
store ever bought the Riri Williams?
I fortunately was not selling comics when that came out. I'm so happy I sold my store in 2013 and I got to miss all of SJW Marvel. I do not regret it at all. There's no way I could have sold that stuff. If that stuff, I probably would have shut down or sold at that point. I was pissed off at the New 52 or after the New 52 came out and they did, oh God, what was it? Convergence or some shit like that. They're starting off. I was pissed off at DC for that. I called them. I'm like, fuck you guys. I'm not selling your shit anymore. I'm tired of I'm tired of you guys resetting the universe every 2 years. And yeah, they got tired of me.
Yeah, I can't.
I was on the phone a lot.
Stand like full on reboots and resets where you got to go through all the same storylines all over again with some
it kills the back catalog too. I mean, like nobody cares about back issues if you reset your universe. That's why DC back issues aren't worth as much as Marvel because the shit doesn't count.
But like you were saying, like there's no mom and pop shops out in the burbs. If you put comics into spinner racks and put them in 7-Elevens or like even just put them in places where there are people.
Yeah.
Like Walgreens. I mean, I'm pretty sure every city has
Walgreens. Put them back in the grocery stores. Put them back in 7-Elevens.
Yeah, you believe me, I have not seen one in a grocery store comic in.
Well, I mean, I see like the Archie ones.
Yeah,
still,
Archie. But and you know what Archie's printed on? Pulp. They need to bring back cheaper paper. They need to make them cheaper. And until they do that, and they can.
You want more detective pulp magazines like it's 1932 now?
Hell yeah.
Pulp / newsprint. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of the problem I think you brought up right there, Gary, is a big deal, is why they first crashed in on themselves before this whole SJW thing is they took the comic book out of the hands of the everyday Joe or the kid who could afford it with, like you said, a quarter and put it in the hands of the collector who's very, very, very selective sometimes on what they're going to do with things, especially after a lot of these collectors got burnt in the 90s when they bought all this shit thinking it was going to be worth so much and they were going to send themselves to college or their kids to college on this shit. and then soon realized that, oh my God, I can go buy 500 copies of The Death of Superman and The Reign of Superman for $5 down at the local fucking, not even comic shop, but the resale shop down the street, because everybody and their mother had 5 copies of these bastards.
If it was the original Reign of the Superman, it would be worth a fortune. But this new thing, no.
Well, no, even the old, like, Death of Superman, that whole shit, none of that stuff's really worth a whole hell of a lot because they overprinted the motherfuck out of it.
Millions of copies.
Like, that's what I was saying. I literally had a guy at a rummage sale who used to have a comic shop like Gary who was giving the shit away.
Yes.
No.
When I bought my store, there was a long box full of them.
Yeah, I got like 2 or 3 copies of The Death of Superman still in the black plastic bag because he was just giving them away.
That's crazy.
I'm still waiting for that one. And actually, I know a guy this actually happened to. I would always read those stories in Guitar Player magazine where somebody goes to a garage sale and sees there's like a 52 Fender Broadcaster, and they get it for like $50. I'm still waiting for that deal. I'm like, I haven't found it. I haven't found it yet. I mean,
It happened to me once. I got a Darth Vader TIE fighter, I got an X-Wing fighter, and I got a Millennium Falcon that was just missing the radar dish for like $5 at a garage sale in '94. And I flipped them in my store for hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, Rob, if you want those guitars, you may as well break into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and steal them.
Yeah.
I know a guy who flips toys all the time, yeah.
Well, like I said, the musical industry the musical instrument industry isn't that far from another crash like the comic book industry. I mean, like I said, there's a reason why there's so many makers cranking them out of China these days and out of Korea.
Well, I was just gonna say a lot of them are coming from the same stock and sources anyway.
I gotta say, random, I find it amusing. When I went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, boy, some of those exhibits were so empty and just desolate that was kind of depressing. They didn't know where to put John Cipollina's guitar. They put it right in the front lobby like it was nothing.
Oh, God. Yeah. Well, I mean, you've got to kind of blame the music industry on that, too, quite a bit. Because who wants to grow up and be a musician when every song is, like, just talking and...
Well,
I can't even think of some of the garbage.
That had, like, long hair, like a buckskin like jacket and a pet wolf.
Have you like tried to play guitar, man? That's like really, really difficult, man.
I can't even do Guitar Hero, man.
I was just gonna say, but I can do level difficulty hard on Guitar Hero and kick your ass.
Yeah.
But Gary, did you catch the earlier part of our show? Did you see Burnett's podcast? What did you think about all that stuff with Axanar?
I heard a little bit of it. I heard what you said about just what he said about what was it, Discovery and the Picard show, but that's all I heard. What else?
Yeah. Well, basically he was talking about how, you know, this Axanar project brought in all this money, but nobody was seeing any of it, but Alec evidently kind of in so many words, and he had done all this work, and he's going to drop some footage here on New Year's Eve, and it's a hell of a listen. So yeah, if you got the time, I'd say check it out. I'm sure
I got it. I talked to, well, didn't talk, but Alec messaged me on Facebook a couple of days ago when we had just a little brief, hey, how's it going? Love your stuff. Yay. Yes, I have to check that out. Somebody brought it to my attention.
Yeah, we've talked to Alec quite a bit over some period of time too, and hopefully we'll get a chance to get his take on these things too. But yeah, it was just an interesting bit.
No, I'll check that out. That is a must. I've been like really into the I'm doing an Orville video, so I was like, I'll watch an episode to get warmed up, and then like 7 episodes in, I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, we get some tomorrow though. We get to get our fill of crap.
Orville's back.
I'm gonna take a guess. There's gonna be more Orville videos coming than Trek.
Oh,
yeah.
I can't wait.
Well, my God. We actually want to watch the Orville. Who the crap wants to watch?
Better the second, third time around. It really is. And
we're all gonna end up doing videos on it tomorrow night. Nobody's gonna watch it. No, I'm just kidding.
They'll watch all of our videos. You kidding me?
They will. I'm kidding.
Yeah. JP from Egotastic Fun Time. He's probably going to be doing.
Oh yeah, if he's out there.
That's his thing. Yeah, he's good.
You got to respect a show that has a robot named after Isaac Asimov.
JP's really good. Yeah, I like JP.
He's good stuff.
Yeah, but like you said, what really. I still don't understand. Like I said, how could it be? Well, I can understand how could it be just a disconnect between the critics and the and the fans, because the critics were told that this was going to be a comedy, and the fans saw that this was going to be a tribute to Star Trek: The Next Generation. And I keep saying, the moment that really, and I knew Seth MacFarlane was a huge Star Trek fan just from watching Family Guy, and he said that there was 2 shows.
Wants to direct a movie.
Yeah.
Well, and he verified that he did pitch a Star Trek show.
Yeah. He said that there's 2
He
shows.
did. Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah. He said there's 2 shows he's always wanted to do since arriving in Hollywood. One is the Flintstones, because that was one of the first jobs he ever had. Yeah, that was one of the first jobs he ever had. He did.
Boy, that's a fun show to reboot now. Honeymooners in animation now.
Yeah. Well, anyway, he did pitch a Flintstone show to Fox, but they said they liked it, but they didn't love it. So, and he always wanted to do Star Trek, and I just had a feeling that he was going to do this right. And then when Bortus put the Rudolph toy in the crib, I was like, oh yeah, that's it. He knows exactly which button to push right there.
You're making that sound so much more sexual than it should come off as.
Well, you just out Roddenberry Gene Roddenberry right there.
How do you guys think season 2 is going to do? I was looking at the Orville ratings the other day, and it had like a great first episode, and then it did pretty good after that, but it wasn't like spectacular.
I heard it had better. It had a lot of retention on streaming.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are watching it after the fact because a lot of people missed it. I get a lot of comments where they say, "Okay, you sold me on the Orville. Yes, I'll watch the Orville now." So
when's
there's a
it
lot
on?
of people who skipped it. Yeah, when's it on?
Right. Well, and there was that story I told before about my cousin who's a bit older than me, so he's more like an uncle. But I asked him because he's a hardcore Trek fan. I said, "Had you seen Discovery?" He wasn't even aware of it, and he had CBS All Access.
That's funny.
And I'm like, "Oh, and you haven't seen it?" He's like, "Oh no." He's like, "I just have it for my news and my sports and this and that and the other." And he's like, "Because we cut the cord and we don't have direct TV or nothing." He's like, "But I did watch this really great show. You'd probably like it. It's called I can't remember what it's called, but it's got that guy from the Family Guy, the Seth MacFarlane, and it's a spaceship, and it's just like Star Trek." I said, "The Orville?" He's like, "Yeah, you'd love that." I said, "Oh yeah, I love it." It's like, yeah. And then my other cousin and I we started talking about it last Christmas because it was right after it premiered or whatever, And all our family members started gathering around like, "Oh yeah, we saw that too. That's hilarious." And we all started talking about some of our favorite moments of the first few episodes that have aired, and so it was like I could tell it had like this effect where people were watching it. People had to be seeing it, especially if in my gathering of family, there's that many people who had seen it. You know what I mean? So it was like the numbers had to be out there somewhere.
I bet you Adrian
FTD.
on TV again. It's not the Wonder Woman pilot that ever made it.
I think Trek fans were, just through word of mouth, Trek fans were finding it. Just kind of not all by themselves, but they were looking at the internet, they were seeing people, and they were finding it.
I think there's a percent. I mean, you guys, of course, know this, but there's a percentage of Star Trek. I don't know if one could exist without the other. Star Trek Discovery and Orville. I think Orville would still do well, but I think the fact that Star Trek Discovery exists makes the Orville do a little better.
You got a point.
Makes it look a little better. I'm like I said, I just watched it again today, and I like it even more. That Bortus episode where they with their daughter and they have to do the sex change into the
about
boy.
A girl, yeah.
There is so many fucking messages mixed into there that are political, sovereign rights and gender and everything, but none of it feels preachy and shit. I'm like, God, this episode's perfect.
Well, not only that, it takes several angles.
Yes.
And they do that with every time that they have a subject, and it always reminds everybody so much of TNG, and because that's what TNG would do, because Picard would be like, well, we have to think this through. We have to look at this like adults, and and you can't just fucking go in head first and be the hero and think everything is going to be fine, or you're going to get everything fucked up.
I think it's bizarre the fact that the Orville did an episode that STD did, and Orville did it slightly better storyline wise. The one that's like we die a million times and repeat.
But it's a classic thing with TNG and with the original Trek, and I'm sure all the other shows. Where it's like, okay, we look at a subject, but we're not just looking at it from, the liberal angle. We're not just looking at it from conservative angle. We're looking at it from an angle from a person who's in that position. And sometimes it's more or less an alien we don't understand, who at first seems to be a threat. You have that situation too. where something that was perceived as a threat at first turns out that it's being misunderstood. There's so many different elements that Seth MacFarlane has pulled from Star Trek that made it Star Trek, and then also put on top of it, though, like I used to say to it, it's Star Trek, but we finally get to see the bathroom.
Yes,
we finally get to see what people do after hours, which we did on Trek, of course. But these seem more like real people, like blue collar people.
Yeah,
They're
and
not
it's airing the same day as Star Trek Discovery. It's funny as
How
hell.
many people when they saw the engineer went?
Oh, that was
God,
funny.
how many people when
Yep.
they saw the engineer on the Orville went, "Oh my God, it's Bradley Brown from Critters."
Well, I was just gonna say that the show is summed up, and I think I said this to my cousins at the time. I said, the show is kind of summed up when Scott Grimes says, "Oh, we're not getting out of here by 5 today."
Yeah, yeah.
oh, I love him. He's my favorite character on the
He
show.
is great. He is so great. When he gets his leg cut off.
Oh, the robot that has
Fuck,
that.
I was laughing my ass
Oh
off.
God, that is awesome. That's one we kept bringing up too. DCB Titan, thank you so much for the Canadian $5.
Yes.
What's that? A Buddha Girl is
Yeah.
the most Gene Roddenberry
About a girl,
Star
boy,
Trek
buddy.
episode we've got
Really?
since passing. Yes, it is. Well, not just about a girl, but there's a lot of them. I always bring up About a Girl because people forget about that one because it was so early in the season.
Yeah.
Sometime we've even talked about it with Rob,
Right?
Like the third episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, whenever we've brought it up here on the show or talked about it to other people, people talk about, the later episodes that, it's like, oh, but you guys forgot about that one because it was so early. Oh, yeah, because there's so many shows.
Well, the one where they kill everybody in the ship, but then the kids say they're going to rise up and do the same thing.
Yeah, like that one, and
Krill.
the one where they think that what's her face is a god, and then there's the one where the whole social network
Social media,
thing where you have to vote.
Oh, yeah, the Twitter runs the universe episode.
Yeah. That's the one I'm watching right now. It's been really crappy for me actually finishing the video because I've got like about 2 minutes of the video shot right now. And it'll come out someday.
One of the things actually I just read actually was on I think it was on Twitter. Halston Sage, she's
That's
actually
episode 2, yeah.
but no, so Halston Sage, she's actually going to be playing. She's playing Dazzler in Dark Phoenix.
Is she leaving? I know Egotastic Funtime has been reporting for about a year that she's going to be leaving the show, or that would
I
suck.
don't think.
Was that the one that Seth
I think
MacFarlane was
that's-
supposedly seeing behind the scenes, or?
Yeah, I think that's
very
why
young.
I think that's why she's taking a break from the show, though. I think that's because there probably was a conflict in shooting. So
She'd be a
you
good
think it has
Dazzler.
nothing
I
to do
mean,
with the other
Dazzler's a ridiculous superhero. If they do it like the original one with her roller skates on, the disco superhero.
yeah.
So you're saying,
That was-
Rob, that her not being on the show this next season has more to do with her shooting obligations than anything personal?
Probably, yeah. I'm thinking because it was rumored about last summer.
Well, that's what we
That-
try to do here is look at every angle, so there's no
yeah,
spin.
and
so.
now we're
yeah.
hearing that she's playing Dazzler. I'm like, it sort of coincides with the shooting schedule for Dark Phoenix, doesn't it?
Well, and they had all those reshoots and shit too.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was saying. Plus, when they had to shoot the Orville, they were shooting it like almost last year this time, or whatever. Yeah, so it'd have been roughly around the same time.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, there was a one episode that had Norm Macdonald.
Hey, it's good. Hey,
Well, he's in quite a few episodes.
He's in a lot. Yeah, he's the
Yeah,
what's his
yeah.
name? He's a little ball of snot. Whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that thing
he
for-
ain't coming back because of,
Yeah.
lately he's not super popular.
Oh.
Oh, yeah,
come
he
on.
did say. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. We'll see.
When-
A lot of
Dominic-
this stuff was already done probably before that, but anyway.
Yeah, they may have edited it out, or who knows.
when he was singing "I Want to Be Your Boyfriend" to Penny Johnson Gerald, that was hysterical.
Well, Ruth Nega and Dominic Cooper were married or dating, and they broke up, and they still managed to do season 3. I just think like if people are sleeping around in the set, this is Hollywood. They're pros. That's like a
Random, don't
it's a
lie.
day that ends in Y.
Firestorm was your favorite episode because it had Robert Picardo.
No, actually, I would say About a Girl is my favorite episode.
So that
Yeah.
one was a good one. That was one that I think Eric Kelly brought up too.
Yeah.
The zoo episode. That's the thing is they're all so great outside of the pilot.
Yeah,
The pilot was the only lesser episode of all the
Yep.
bunch.
Yeah,
of
That's
them.
what everyone got screamed.
But the pilot does what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, it has to set everybody up.
It sets
and
everybody
that's what
introduced.
Discovery didn't do with their pilot. I don't know their names.
Well, just
Of
look at the
any of
first shot of Discovery. I actually looked at it today because it was part of the video, or it was going to be. So and sorry to interrupt, but you look at the first shot of Discovery and the first shot of Orville. First shot of Orville is an establishing shot of New York City. It's all beautiful and blue and a big future and ships flying around. And the first shot of Star Trek Discovery, is like zooming through the fucking ship to Mikey Spock or something like that. Like, yeah, it's just black crap.
Yeah,
That's
it was
all
nothing.
it is.
Ooh,
Yeah.
look, she is.
Or no, it's
everything.
them on that planet, right? It's the establishing shot of that.
That stupid planet where they're breaking the Prime Directive and we never see it again.
All I know is that Yaphet and Harvey need to have their own show.
Yeah, I tell you, I get that Harvey Cthulhu. He's an okay guy. Harvey Cthulhu. He's got a lot of hands, and he gets
Just
tentacles.
push the button.
Man, talk about push the button. Harvey,
I can't get out and help you unless you push the button.
Yeah, push the button. Hey, what are you talking about? Push the button.
I'm an elder god.
I got no digits. I'm a gelatinous being, and you know that. I can't push the button.
Gelatinize the button.
That was a weird episode where everyone love pheromones are screwing each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one that rubbed some people the wrong way.
Oh my god, that
tentacles and everything. Yeah, I'm not surprised about that.
Well, I would like to see him come back and like have some sort of charges pressed against him for knowing that his pheromones affect, or have some sort of like outcome.
That was probably written pre-Me Too, so absolutely.
Well, not just that. I was just going to say, look at that episode though, and think about the message that it's kind of conveying there, almost. And the people that had an issue with that episode and what Mecha was bringing up too was like, some people are like, that was almost like a sexual assault thing, almost kind of a point. I mean, what he did to people, and they just kind of like, oh well, it's just because of who he is.
Look,
it's almost like SJW sweeping
but-
shit under the rug just because it's part of their culture. You can't get pissed at them for that.
You could name the episode "I Too."
Pheromones or love potions was the episode Love Rick Potion 9 from the first season of Rick and Morty.
But the other thing too is they're showing different people from different cultures all hooking up. So like, oh, you know what? People are doing that no matter, regardless of what your race. It's okay, Well,
no, but I'm saying it's like, oh, they I think that maybe the reason it rubbed not so much people like Mecha the wrong way, but people like SJWs and stuff like that the wrong way that spoke out about the episode is that, isn't it kind of commenting on how they just give a pass to those? It's like I said, it's like they're part of their culture. You can't say anything about it. You know what I mean?
They were going to they were going to complain anywhere for stealing STD's thunder. That's the thing.
Well, no, but I mean, the show is, I think some of us are missing kind of the point of that episode is what I was getting at. I get where Mecha's coming from on how that guy is, he should be brought up on some kind of charges almost.
Well, at the very least, have some sort of announcement or something.
But they just let it go because it's his culture. There's not so much even part of his culture. It's part of who he is in general. I mean, you can't.
Yeah, but doesn't that go back to our old joke about like, well, can't stop those Mongols from raping and pillaging? It's part of their culture.
Well, yes, but I mean,
that's just kind of what I'm getting to.
It's not the Federation. For like the Union, I would assume that they would say, okay, well, this is how his species is, so be aware of it, take some precautions,
or they can't be around during that time because it's just a certain period of time, or there's some kind of inhibitor.
Yes.
I mean, it's just a big plot hole. I mean, that's kind of all it is. But I see your point there. Yeah, because
like the death beam that sucks everyone's life out. He's like, well, it's an intelligent being too.
Or maybe in 400 years, people have just gotten over themselves.
Yeah, maybe.
Or maybe.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
Come on, 400 years ain't going to fix that.
That's the most unrealistic thing about Gene Roddenberry's world. We're all going to be friendly and nothing's going to be... No.
And that's just me trying to find something to nitpick about the show. That's like, it's not.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
It's not because this is one of those shows you have to kind of go out of your way to find something wrong with it. You have to find something to kind of say, well, how can I be critical? How can I find something to where they can improve? And when that's really all I can think of is like that's the only instance they did wrong. And even then, we're still having kind of the discussion of would they do this differently in the future? Is this actually acceptable? Is this even a nitpick? So that's how they're doing it so much better than Discovery because this allows.
The episode about like the internet running the universe is a lot more realistic depiction of the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eric Kelly, he says, well, there's Mikey Spock, Captain Asian, First Officer. No, it's Mikey Spock. It's Mikey Spock, not Sulu, the Cowardly Lion, Lisa Left Eye, Mrs. T, and LeBron James. That's the bridge crew right there.
You forgot Nebula.
And Nebula, yeah.
And Nebula, yes, and they all nod affirmingly at Mikey Spock every 5 or 6
Left Eye
minutes.
even have an official name.
Kayla is her name.
Keela
Yeah.
Detmer.
That on camera.
Keela Detmer is Lisa Left Eye's official name. And like I keep saying, every time her name comes up, we have to give her a shout out, because I tweeted at her when somebody brought up the name of the character, Keela Detmer. I said I was just this character as a name. I was just calling her Lisa Left Eye, and she said I thought that was funny. So like I said,
I like that or whatever. At least Left Eye, I like that. I think
her name is about as canon as the one girl in Quantum of Solace whose name is Strawberry Fields.
Yeah, Gemma Arterton.
Yeah, they didn't say her name in the movie. She's just Agent Fields, but her first name is Strawberry in the credits.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah. Actually, the Strawberry Fields comes from another.
I was asleep by then.
Novel.
Yeah, I don't that movie's all. I can remember her name. I can remember there was a fist fight where some guy died, and I remember exploding a hotel. That's about it.
It's a deleted scene from Casino Royale.
Pretty
it's a
much.
big 2-hour deleted scene.
It's a 2-hour addition to Casino Royale, where it ends the exact same way with Bond, pretty much about the same point.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And that's, I keep saying, that's when the whole thing with the whole big push to cast Idris Elba as James Bond, and Idris Elba said actually he had to come out and said, no, I have not been cast as the next James Bond.
Old too.
Stop asking.
He also said he doesn't want to be the Black James Bond.
No, he doesn't want to be it.
Yeah. And I don't think the window is closing on Idris Elba being a major Hollywood action star. It really is.
He's a good co-star. He's really good in a movie that I don't know if a lot of people saw or I love, called The Losers. I love The Losers. I thought it was a great comic adaptation and it was a lot of fun. He was great in that, but yeah.
But
Luther's okay.
Yeah, Luther was good. Yeah, I like Luther.
But I think Rob's not wrong. I think the window closed on that with Dark Tower.
Definitely.
No,
but you see all the think pieces. Oh, Hollywood needs to do right by Idris Elba. Idris Elba should have been doing right by Idris Elba, or at least his agent.
His time was 15 years ago when he was on The Wire and everyone liked him.
But one thing though, like you had a lot of people, like everybody, like in the I hate saying the SJW media, but like all the woke cognoscenti were saying, oh, Idris Elba should be the next James Bond. Where do I vote? And Sam Mendes, director
that's
of
our famous joke.
Yeah, Sam Mendes, director of Skyfall, actually said, you don't get a vote. Barbara Broccoli makes the decision. This isn't the X Factor.
And literally it takes about 2 minutes to realize, oh, this woman's very traditional and conservative. That will never happen.
Well, it'd be nice if movies were like, a governmental kind of system where you can vote on shit, but that's just not the way it works. Because you do vote through your dollars, though.
There's one out right now, Bandersnatch.
Yeah.
You can
Gary,
check the ending. Oh no, it's who's got 3 hours to fuck around with a TV show?
I always have 3 hours to mess around.
Yeah, Gary, you remember you're about the same age as I am. You remember the old days when you used to the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, you used to pick up the ballot and at the supermarket, you used to fill in. Yeah, I mean that's what a lot of people think that casting movies is like now. You pick up you fill out an All-Star ballot online, you click send, then you print out a coupon to save $1 on Gillette razors.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's because Tumblr has been successful. Tumblr has been successful. Actually, in comics, the great proving ground of entertainment, they've been successful in getting comic creators to apologize, change their characters, so they think they can do it with fucking Hollywood now. All of a sudden, so it's not a surprise.
Yeah, I actually had one guy get really angry at me. He says, "Well, this at least shows Barbara Broccoli that there's support for casting Idris Elba." And I said, she doesn't care. Sam Mendes has already said it's not a democracy. And
she's a mirror image of her dad.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, and said, Sam Mendes says it's not democracy, and I told Barbara Broccoli is very conservative when it comes to the Bond franchise. This is all they do. And she doesn't make movies for anybody else. That's all she does is make Bond movies, and she will not do anything to jeopardize the entire the entire franchise and the profitability
When
of
it
it.
comes to Bond, she's like Margaret Thatcher. She doesn't give a shit what you think of her. She's going to keep it the way it is.
That's her main income, right? I mean, isn't that?
Oh,
It's her main income. It's her family legacy. It's her dad's great achievement. It's a lot of things to her.
I mean, it would almost be better to just keep Bond away until this thing blows over or something. And all you have to do is trot out Doctor Who going, yeah, that worked well.
Here's the thing. In the 90s, they almost rebooted Bond as a woman. So this is really not anything new.
Yeah.
Well, it's even worse in a way, besides, basically what Rob and I always say about the character. It's like, it inherently makes no sense because you have a character where a lot of it is built on who he is, where he comes from, being a he to begin with.
He's one of the few characters in literature or media where I can flat out say being a man is kind of a key part of his character.
Right. And that's a big part of it is like, why? Just make your own thing. Why does it have to be Bond as a woman? It makes
What I've always wondered is if Bond was made a woman, would she still lust over other women?
I have no idea.
Well, it's just what everybody thinks. Hollywood, BBC, whatever, they don't think women are marketable enough to create a new character and build them up. They need that quick money now, so we just swap the label because there's a million Wonder Womans out there, but there actually is a lot of female characters. They just they're lazy.
Right, female am is about as adventurous as we're ever gonna get.
And I've said this before too. They learned the wrong lesson from Wonder Woman. The lesson should have been, there are very viable classic female characters out there. Find them.
There's that whole argument. Oh well, the women make up a larger percentage of the audience, and I always retort, yes. However, the audience for Marvel movies and for Star Trek and for Bond is men. Men proportionally go see these movies in larger numbers.
Fans, you're not going to get any new fans out of it, really. And the women that are fans because they like something. We say this all the time. It's the same thing with Star Wars and Star Trek and everything else. Where do you think you're going to be able to create this new fan base just by automatically making a character that you think is going to appeal to them?
I actually realized, have we ever talked about the Avengers, the old show, Rob?
Patrick McNee?
Yeah, with Emma Peel.
Yeah. And Diana Rigg and Patrick McNee, yeah.
Yeah, it's where we got Emma Peel and what was her name again? The Pussy Galore was in that show as well.
Honor Blackman.
Yeah.
Honor Blackman.
It goes to the whole simple thing where we say, women want to be with Bond, or generally,
You don't want to.
Even briefly in I think what was the really bad one with Christopher Walken?
In Aquaman, I don't know about you, Mecha, but when I saw Aquaman, half the theater was women.
Yeah. Oh, same in mine.
They all really, really want to get Khal Drogo.
Anarchy.
Well,
Yep.
And not only that, there's so many plot elements, not to really go into spoilers. There's a couple of love stories in there that definitely appeal to women. And I even heard women behind me talking, oh, well, this is really good. This is a great love story. I'm glad I came to this. And, there's so many good elements that women are going to enjoy, and men. And same thing with Bumblebee. To bring that one up, there's a lot of elements that
earlier.
Yeah, that a lot of girls and I think are gonna flock to for that one. And that's how you do it. You can make characters appeal to women that are not just boring Mary Sues, that aren't just there because they're a woman. That there's ways to do that. I'm a girl who grew up with a lot of stuff. I'm very much the tomboy, and girls will like masculine things, and that's one of the things they did in Bumblebee that was really good too. Your main character is a girl who is an absolute tomboy. She is the kind of quintessential 80s tomboy chick who play. She's into the music. She's athletic, and she works on cars. And you get women and they always forget that there are women out there that are like that. Don't always want the girly, pretty stuff. Women that can just relate to a nice family story. Women that can just relate to.
I'll admit the same thing. Opposite here. I'm like, hey, I love Disney movies altogether. My big hero is the freaking lady who voiced Belle, for the love of God. I'm like, yeah, an idol or a hero or a role model doesn't have to be just for that one gender. It can be for both.
That whole I need to see myself on something. We're not 6. Okay. We're not going to be going for I'm not going to be dressing up for somebody for Halloween. I don't need I like Buffy the vampire, so I don't want to be Buffy. Well, not today anyway. And maybe tomorrow, but yeah, it's touched on. But Rob, to your point, that number is such bullshit that yes, half the world. You know what? There's more women in the world than men. So yes, if they're using the basic data of planet Earth, there are more women out there. But if you go to science fiction genre comic books, the percentage, there was a bullshit poll that kind of started SJW Marvel that had a lot to do with it, that said that 51% or 49% of women are interested in comics. So interested. So yeah, they like Spider-Man and they would buy a pop vinyl. They're interested, but the actual
does not mean that they're a constant
exactly. I was a very female-friendly comic store. I was the only like really family store in San Francisco, and we had a subscriber base of about 300 plus people. I went from 0 women to having about 30 subscribed, so that's like 10%. And then there's others who came in and shopped. I would say a rough estimate of just female comic book fans who regularly buy comics would not even break 15%. That's being so like get it to movies and TV. It's probably 30. That might be a little high, but like for Star Trek, to me, more women were into Star Trek than Star Wars. So
I think that's accurate.
I had someone say to me actually one time, it says, I go to conventions, I would go to comic book shops. I never see any women in there. Well, you just make them uncomfortable. Oh. I said, of all the ways I make women uncomfortable, going into a comic book store is not one of them.
That may be true, Rob, but there's also a side of that is not wrong. I will say that, to go with what everybody's saying here, especially what Gary just said too, and all that kind of stuff, there is already a built-in female fan base, but a lot of the male fans have aggressively made a lot of the female fans feel like they are not part of the group for a long time, and that does need to change. And what you need to do is to let people like Mecha in, because they're true blue nerds. That doesn't mean you got to test the fuck out of them.
No, you be very welcoming. Yeah. That's what I tried to do. I did try to be like, it's a line. You got to do that with every customer, but you don't want to give them too much attention and make them feel. You just be relaxed, and guess what? Treat them like fucking people, and that's it. Yes, I've been around.
It's not everybody. In my life. I'm not trying to marginalize or generalize a group at all, but there are.
No, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. There were comic book stores
they make. Yeah,
that's on the comic book shop owners. There's a lot that were freaking. I felt uncomfortable going into. They're creepy, or it feels like there's a clique. There's always people huddled around the counter, and they just give you a head nod, or maybe don't even say hi. That's dumb. No, you have to go through. There has to be. When women started going to Comic-Con, there was a lot of bullshit about it, but the argument I made is like, what are you complaining about? There's girls at Comic-Con, dude. Exactly. Come on, like, that's great. Yeah, so they came here from Twilight. Who gives a shit?
A girl's into stuff I like. Awesome.
Yeah, you encourage it, but I also equate some of what's going on the professional level. This is not with fans. Okay, let me separate this from fans. But on the professional level, it feels like you just got married and you didn't live together, and the wife's moving in, and instead of integrating yourself into the apartment or house, that she made you put all your shit in the basement in a closet, and she just took over the whole house. There's some of that going on professionally. That needs to be dialed back a little bit. At least
there's two sides of it too.
You just described my one of my other brothers. They got married and all his stuff went into a tiny little closet. So yeah, and he had a 1971 Les Paul Gold Top Deluxe with the mini humbuckers, left-handed, and he says no, but I would lay even money that she didn't make him sell it, but she probably suggested he sell it. Because I could hear that voice. Well, you don't play it anymore, and you're building an addition to the house, and you really can use the money. It's like, why don't we sell your jewelry? How about that?
I'll be honest. That's one of the reasons why I'm very hesitant to actually live with another person.
Is you don't want to,
because I'm used to living with women who made me put all my shit in a little box in the corner somewhere. Yeah.
See, I'm the type of girl, I want my space. I'm like, you do whatever you want with the living room. You do what you want with whatever you got. I need an office. I need a room. As long as I have a place to go, I'm fine.
Gary, you've been to the UK, right?
Yep.
Okay, I've been to the UK. You know, I'm Mecca. You've been to the UK, and
Yeah.
I don't think Thomas has. Tyler, you've been out of the country.
No place.
See, my
I've barely been to my kitchen.
same brother. Like I said, and I hate to bash on people's relationships. Same brother. He complains constantly. Why do I always drive junk? Oh, I want to go to London so bad. I want to go to Italy so bad. And I keep telling him the only person preventing you from going is you. The wife doesn't want to go, but at the same time, if you say, "Hey, why don't you bring it up? Let's go to London next spring," you know. And like I said, the last good car he drove was a I think a 73 Audi 100 LS. That was 30 years ago. Great car. And he drives a 2002 Hyundai Sonata now. And I keep telling him, you drive junk because you choose to drive junk. You could go down to the Audi dealership, get an A6 manual transmission, and $18,000 and pay it off, and within the next two or 3 years. And if the wife said anything, say, "Hey, you've got your new car. This is mine. Why can't I have a car?" Yeah, you hate to drive that wedge between people, but it's just one of those things. Like you said, the comics and everything. It's just I can't stand the whole marking of territory. This you have to stake out the territory, and you lose yourself in someone else. I don't know what your relationship is like.
That's bad boundaries. That's not healthy boundaries. Yeah,
like I said, I hate bashing my older brother, but at the same, there's no he ain't listening. There's no indication that a man lives in that house. It's all porcelain.
Shit.
It's all porcelain kitties.
Oh no, unicorns too? No, not unicorns.
There's an old timey radio like in the corner that he worked on, and it's just like
he's got to go, honey. Is it okay if I just watch a little bit of football?
Oh yeah, man. That's why I'm. First marriage wasn't that great, but my second one is awesome because we've known each other for 30 years, and she does not. She's super cool. Loves comic books and Star Trek, and
or one of those who hates
her.
Star Wars or something like that. Oh god.
Oh yeah, my first wife didn't like comic books, so that wasn't gonna go well.
My brother's wife, she has to be in bed 9:30 every night for some strange reason.
Yeah, I've had that one girl who's when I was dating. All of a sudden, she goes, "Oh, I hate all those comic book movies." I'm like, "Yeah, this ain't gonna last."
Yep. You're looking at your watch. Well, I think I have venereal disease.
Stupid. It's like, fuck. And what do you watch? I love Twilight. No.
Oh God, I'm sorry.
I hate. Yeah,
I had one who was like, "Oh my God, you're so negative all the time." Yeah, that didn't last long, did it?
Yeah,
but you should say I get paid for it.
Well, yeah, this was like a decade before I got paid for it, though.
What?
You were working on it, though. You were practicing.
Yeah, it's practicing my ranting.
The worst part is that my the same brother, his son, my nephew, is a brony. I'm like, oh no, how did this happen?
I'm not.
What's the difference between a brony and a furry? I mean, I guess one puts the suit on. I just like.
One's
fundamentally
a little bit more creepier than the other, and that's because it's a show that's meant for 4-year-old girls.
Yeah, that one's weird.
And that means that those who are actually associated with the sexual gratification are less creepy, in my opinion.
Yeah, I hate making fun of what people like because I like some stupid shit.
Me too.
Same here, but it's just kind of fucking creepy. I'm fucking sorry.
Yeah, him and his buds, they talk about video games constantly, like regular guys talk about sports ball. Random. That's one for you. But
but I gotta go. It's been a little bit longer than I thought it would.
Yeah,
no problem, man. Take care, man.
We're gonna wrap this up in a couple minutes.
Pretty soon here, yeah, because I'm sure Gary had some ideas that he wanted to get done.
Yeah.
Good
night.
Needs the benefit.
I don't want to fall.
I'm on the West Coast.
Yeah,
guys.
Later, Ty.
But I keep saying, see you later, Ty. But I keep saying about, like I said about my brother. I said, if I was in that type of relationship, like I said, I'd go buy get like an Audi A6, and I'd make sure to get a manual transmission so she couldn't drive it. Why did you go? Yeah. Why did you get a stick shift for? I can't drive it. That's the idea.
Oh,
it's like, listen, you've got the new car. Like, what? This is mine.
Relationship.
Come on, sweetheart.
Now you know why. Now you know why I'm bad.
All
at
my friends are wrong. You're not that dumb.
But one of the things, like I said, I part of the reason why I started traveling was to show him, say, hey, look, this is something you can do. So yeah, I went to Stockholm. I went, he actually dared me to go to Stockholm. I said, you watch, I'm going to Stockholm. So that was the first time I went to Europe. When I went to Sweden, which was awesome. If you ever get a chance, go. It's they still like Americans because they don't get very many tourists.
Richard Lee gave you a new challenge, Rob. He wants you to find some unicorn porn. I'm sure there's tons of that out there.
Oh man.
Oh wait, challenge accepted.
10 seconds will take you.
10 seconds. Yeah, you're gonna find that like before you're done googling
Let's
it.
It's going to be above horse porn probably now.
Unicorn.
He's actually doing it now. Why not?
Yes, I am. It's in Urban Dictionary.
It's got to be a thing.
Hey, yeah, so is Nerdrodic, by the way.
Awesome, sweetness.
Awesome.
Well, we got to say though, while we got
Pornhub.
17,000. Thanks. Congratulations so much on your.
Thanks, man. It's
There
been
it is.
crazy.
It
Is
took
it?
me 30 seconds to find it.
Not even.
Oh wow.
But yeah, congratulations, Gary.
Thanks, man. It's been a fun. It's been
5K.
fun.
What? Not even 6 months ago.
No, I was at 6. It was a little over a month ago. I was at 6,000. Yeah.
Yeah, you were. Yeah, not even
Yeah.
that long ago. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. Amazing.
Yeah. I don't know what I was doing different. I got really pissed about Doctor Who.
I think it was
You're right in the algorithm too.
I was gonna say part of it's the timing, the algorithm. You got some really great shout outs.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Hey, Brandon, we got shout out today by Bleeding Fool. That was so cool.
I saw that. I didn't have time to read the article. I saw it though. That was cool.
Yeah.
Like me.
Yeah, that was
Dr. Who
cool. I
videos.
saw you there. I'm like, oh, I gotta let her know because because I just saw their message when I was I was listening to you guys, and
yeah,
I was like, that is awesome. And they message. I'm sure they message you. They message me. So
yeah, they I saw it in my Twitter inbox, but man, I've been out all day as well. Like I just got home and got on the podcast.
Yeah, she literally got home from Bumblebee and jumped on.
Yeah,
I want to see that so bad. I really do want to see
It
that.
was actually higher than Aquaman, but everybody keeps telling me I got to see Aquaman.
Oh, see, you know what? See, Bumblebee. It's slow. It's slower. It's very much an '80s movie sort of vibe. I think you'll appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably gonna talk about it. I don't know if I'll go live tonight or tomorrow.
I don't
I'll
like
probably
the
do
word
something.
slower. Let's just say richer.
Well, no, I mean if they slow down and give you time.
No,
to,
I
like,
get it.
feel
I get
things.
what you're saying, but it just makes it sound like it's a negative thing. And
No, because Aquaman is like hyperkinetic. It's like
yeah, that's what
Aquaman
I want to say. We got to find a better word than slower.
Yeah, so they
easier.
Easier pace.
They let you simmer with the emotions of a character. They'll stay on the scene with you. It's paced well.
Well paced, yeah.
They let it breathe. That's good. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
That's what a lot of the greats always are. You know, they give you a moment to, sink in with things, even though some things happen real quick.
You mean unlike when Asgard, sorry, I always call it Asgard, blows up and or when Odin dies and we get like a half a second of Odin dying and then something happens. Yeah,
to a point. I get where you're coming from on that. Even though I totally love Ragnarok, it's one of my favorites.
I do, but yeah, the just when
that's
like, let it breathe for a second.
Yeah, that's more in the editing. I was gonna say I'm sure they could have let it go for like 10 seconds more.
Yeah, that might have been. I think that was the MCU. I don't think that was Taika Waititi at all.
No,
I think, they have their formula and
you got to tighten it up.
The
you should know that coming from
right,
an editing background a little
right
bit.
from the beat sheet.
Well, they run the MCU like a TV writer's room, and that's kind of like they're doing with Star Wars too. So they have the story group make up a story, then somebody comes in and write it. And whatever director, like Ryan Coogler for Black Panther, didn't direct a single special effects scene. He just directed the actors. God, I forgot her name. One of the girls who interviewed for Captain Marvel came out and just blabbed all that. She said, "Yeah, I wanted to actually direct the movie. I wanted to do the special effects and everything." And then they said, "No. You're just going to direct the actors. We got everything else taken care of," which is kind of it's not a big surprise, but it was interesting to hear that.
As long as you got somebody who's running the ship you can trust, that's the difference.
Yep.
And that's what Andre and Rob and I and Mecha and you and Gary, I'm sure at some point have said the same thing, where it's like that's the difference between like Marvel and some of these other things where there is no cohesive person kind of running everything. You know, that's the problem DC had for so long, is that they kept switching gears and who was in charge and who was in control of what and what direction they were going to take. And Marvel has always had pretty much one vision, and that was Kevin Feige's, and he gets all these people in there. And if you want to play ball, that's cool, and it does a lot for your career in the end, I'm sure. But you also have to sign off on certain amenities or whatever you want to call it when it comes to being a director and a creator in certain ways too, because it is like jumping into a television show. You don't get to just kill off random characters because you want to, because your TV runner is your producer is gonna come in there and just rip your fucking head off because he's like, you can't do all this shit.
No, we got to bring him back to life. God damn it. No, I think Walter Hamada. I think that's the guy who's running the DC side. Yeah, if this is what we're going to get from him, then I'm pretty happy.
So that means they probably righted the ship for the most part, even though Justice League was a bit of a misfire. Of course, that wasn't technically his rule, from what I recall. So
no, but he came out and publicly said. Even Odin mentioned this, that he came out publicly said, if nobody likes Aquaman, it's on me.
There you go. I mean, he's owning it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how you do it. That's really how you do it. You don't blame the fans, and you make sure you let them know, hey, I'm giving you guys this. I'm doing this for you. I appreciate your feedback, and if you guys hate it, it's my fault because I'm the one who made the movie. You didn't make the movie. I'm so sick to death of the toxic studios blaming the fans.
You hear that, Ryan? Or as Gary likes to call him, Rianne.
It's my movie.
Rianne.
It's not my fault that The Last Jedi sucked. It's your fault for not liking it.
We obviously don't see the genius.
No, I remember back in the day, it was the director and the writer and the producer's fault if something went to shit.
Yep.
You knew exactly because they were the captains. They were the ones were in charge,
Hey, Joel Schumacher and Sam Raimi have both owned up for their mistakes and have all my respect for it. Like, I've totally forgiven, not that he needed my forgiveness, but for Spider-Man 3 or Schumacher for Batman and Robin, to their credit, they both came out and said, "Yeah, we fucked up on that one. Sorry."
Yeah,
I like that. Love to hear more of that. You want to have fans instantly love you. God, this is what I'm begging from somebody, in the media or, some director, somebody be brave and step out of this echo bullshit and go, you know what? We got to be nicer to the fans. And you will be the king of the nerds overnight. People
wasn't
will
it Ron Howard you. Said something like that.
Yeah. And it was nice to hear, and he's, Opie's a nice guy.
Well, it's Opie Cunningham.
Opie Cunningham.
Opie Cunningham's the director now, and he's married. I can't picture Opie Cunningham having kids. Hell, I can't picture Opie Cunningham having sex.
I couldn't get mad at him for Solo. I know it, he just came in, did his job. Yep.
He's the only reason that it probably is possibly watchable. But at the same time, I've said before, at that point, Lucasfilm Disney was better off just releasing the Lord Miller version, then they wouldn't have been out so much money. But they probably, because I think we talked about this one last time you were on the show, or on when I was on Tights or one of the two, where how it was probably some kind of insurance deal is why they did it that way anyway. And that's probably how they didn't lose so much money on the whole shindig.
Yeah, I don't think they lost. I mean, what they publicly say and I don't think they lost a cent on it, to be honest with you. I mean, they lost a lot of, there's a lot of egg on their face over it, but they didn't lose any money. No.
I was just saying, there's more for them to save face, and it was probably, if they had to fire the director and reshoot all this stuff, they probably were able to be covered by insurance, is what I was thinking.
Agreed.
As if they were to release the other version, it would have been covered if it would have flopped. That's probably why.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're closing in on 3.5 hours.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
We're the audience, and we got Gary here, we got Mecha here, we got Robb here. So I know Rob's getting a little tired. So maybe take one or two more questions, and then we'll get on out of here. Or...
Yeah,
that sounds good.
Yeah. So making some good ones, guys.
Get out of here.
Oh yeah, they're mentioning in chat. Hidden Wiki says the Kid Would Be King movie. Patrick Stewart. They're selling the hell out of this during the holidays and football games. I saw a trailer for that. I don't know if you've seen a trailer for that yet, Tom, but he's very similar. Yeah, it's very old man Picard.
Really?
It is.
Yes. He sounds just like old man Picard.
I need some inspiration.
He plays Merlin. Yeah, it's that trailer. I'll say Nerdrodic Jr. was into it. He's all because I kind of look at him and he's got pretty decent taste. I did, I'm 50, so I was like, I'd take him to it. But Nerdrodic Jr. was excited for it. I don't know what you guys think of it. It was good to see Patrick Stewart, but it was definitely Old Man Picard.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it looked cute. I saw the trailer for that today. It looked fun. It looked it really looks like they're trying to make that like the next Harry Potter thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks fun though. I mean, if I were a kid, I'd probably watch the crap out of it, and I might give it a shot.
Yeah. Sorry, it looks very British.
Yes.
That's what I think was cool about it. So
yeah. And of course Patrick Stewart in a Led Zeppelin shirt. Like that's kind of awesome.
I gotta check it out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, and that's the thing. You guys know how it is when you're trying to run a channel and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. What is this time thing?
Something, or sometimes it can be a pain in the ass to just be in touch with the real world at times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know what inspires Old Man Picard.
Boobies.
Yes, Old Man Picard's inspired by boobies. Okay.
Two boobies or not two boobies? I always take two boobies.
Alpha J.
That's more.
Alpha J 3.0. You think indie comics is the best alternative to the crap DC and Marvel are currently doing?
Yes.
Potentially, yeah. Probably.
I think that's the future. I mean, Alterna's trying to do stuff. The Indiegogo stuff was going good, but some people need to, I guess, deliver on their books. I mean, that stuff happens creatively. You get into snags and things take longer. I don't want to be too judgmental on the Indiegogo people. Shit definitely happens, but they should. I hope they come out with their books.
Pretty much, if you can prove that you can do something good nowadays, there's no real excuse anymore. I hate hearing some of these people that I know, even personally, where they bitch and complain that they can't get this done or that done because nobody's giving them the opportunity. It's like, it really wouldn't cost you that much to just go do it yourself.
Yep.
If it really is that goddamn good. And in that case, then word of mouth will carry whatever it is that our show, Midnight's Edge in general, Nerdrodic, Mecha, all that stuff in general is a prime example of how people like you out there find something that they connect with and they tell others about it. And it's the word of mouth that you guys get out about us and that you listen to us and you support us and all that kind of stuff. That's the kind of thing that makes a difference. And that's the kind of thing that's going to be in the future, and it's going to change, especially when it comes to video and comic book, I think. And that's why I was kind of asking Gary that before. Maybe that's where a lot of the comic book stuff's going to change, is you're going to have a lot of these indie people come in and show you that you can still make good comic book characters and good stories and good arcs and all this kind of stuff and not be tied down by this NPC culture, SJW culture, whatever you call it.
And be free to do what you want. And that Vader fan film, which I know is barely a fan film and stuff, but that thing was awesome. It was so good. Mm-hmm. And that renewed my, and Axanar is awesome. It's brilliant. Star Trek Continues. I love seeing shit like that. And yes, I would read your comics. You guys, Tom just said, are YouTubing, it is, listen, it's work. It's a ton of fucking work, but it's great. It's great
for you guys. Trust us.
Yeah.
We all generally have second jobs and, not only that, you add in family and everything else. And it takes a lot out of your day, but it's worth it when there's guys like you. We still got 112 of you hanging in here,
Yep.
It's worth it when we got you guys out there.
I wanted to ask you something, Tom, because you guys, to me anyway, and I agree with you, you coined the phrase streaming wars, at least you guys in the first place.
Well,
I heard it.
We did kind of.
What I never hear brought up in streaming wars or anything anywhere is YouTube. I never hear it brought up as a factor.
Kind of already pulled out of the game, and you kind of broke some of the news on that over there at Nerdrodic before I started hearing it other places, and that was that they decided to get out of the YouTube premium game, kind of.
Yeah, they did because they got smart. They saw that it's channels like ours. It's like this is a factor now. It's like more kids, listen,
premium kind of thing where
kids are watching YouTube. They're not watching Netflix. They're not watching Amazon. They're not watching anything. They're watching freaking YouTube. And that's the audience that you got to watch, because the interaction that's happening here with our fans. So, you times this by, a few thousand, there's a few thousand channels out there with 20,000, 10,000 subs and up. that each have a couple hundred people. You multiply that out. That's a lot of eyes that are not on Netflix, that are not on Amazon. This like live streaming, this crap, this is a factor that I never get, and I never hear get brought up. That's the future.
It's
Because
going to stay. I think that YouTube's going to make it. I think YouTube's
Yeah.
going to be one of the finals.
Well,
But
YouTube
for-
and Twitch, because
Yeah.
here's the thing. This is going back to what we were going into earlier with people want the interaction. People
Yep.
want to be a part of it. And this is how you guys be a part of it. You know, you're in the show, we say your name when we read your comments or whatever. You know, you are part of the community. You send us the stories to cover. Like I make so many videos based on what people send me.
Oh yeah.
And you won't get that kind of interactivity with like the big studios. You know, what are they going to do? They're going to call you a toxic fan and take your money and smack you in the ass on the way out. You know, they'll be like, no, don't come back, but we want your money, but don't come back. And it's just crazy. Like they don't get that. They don't understand. They don't get, we have changed so much culturally in the past like 20, 30 years where so many of these they can't make the studies and keep up quick enough with the trends and the changing of the trends, because first it's the internet, then it's social media, and then it's smartphones and all of these things that happen every like 5 years. It seems like they can't keep up with it. They have no idea, but the younger people do, and the other people know. They come over from Twitch watching video games. They're watching, even the people our age are watching live streams like this. People just talk. This is the new talk radio.
Yeah.
And I don't think they get that.
No, they don't. And I think it's a factor that I don't hear, and I'm kind of glad that I don't hear it. I kind of want this to stay a little niche. I know it won't forever, but it's kind of ridiculous to call it niche, but I like.
I just blew up with 17.
it's still small. I mean, like, I don't mean to put it down.
Bigger
It's
than
like,
After Dark, and I mean, we're part of a bigger thing, but we're still just this measly little YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'd love it. I mean, like, if it stops right here, I'm cool. I'm good. This is so much farther than I thought I'd ever be. So I'm very happy and grateful.
Well, I told you back a while back, you're just on the cusp of taking off because you got the formula down, and I think you, especially when it comes to television and stuff you guys cover over there,
oh yeah,
got something that a lot of other people haven't seen in a while, and you're
not
like Collider and a lot of that stuff where you're sucking everything's dick.
Well, and that's the difference too. That again is the interaction, and I think I was saying this months and months ago about Nerdrodic, is that they are doing exactly what like Talking with Chris Hardwick is doing, except they're doing it live with the audience. They're not talking at the audience. They're talking to the audience. And these people don't like these big TV shows. Yeah, they'll go live with, Talking Dead with Chris Hardwick, but they're not interacting and they're not communicating and they don't listen. And people want to feel like they're being listened to, especially in this day and age. And this is where a lot of the representation stuff comes in. And
yeah, oh, that's a good point. That's a really good point. Remember G4? Remember Attack of the Show? It'd show little tweets on the bottom and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I noticed like an interaction like that. I'm like, oh, that would be cool if people could do that. And yeah, it's going to be hard for scripted dramas or reality TV to compete with this stuff once it really, really catches on. And if you're catching kids right now, that's a generation right there. That's a whole generation that's going to do that. And that's what they're going to expect. Yep. And it's going to be hard to sell, Doctor Who and Star Trek to them. I got to give credit to Netflix. Hard. Yeah, it is. Absolutely. I could only get one kid into comics out of my two. It's kind of disappointing, but that's how it turns out.
Speaking of kids, my kid and I know a lot of other kids will generally have YouTube running as long as they're awake and not in school.
Yep. Oh yeah.
While they're doing other shit. I mean, I've even gotten to that point sometimes where I'm doing the same thing if it's whatever's on, whether it's if I'm not watching something on Amazon or a Blu-ray or whatever, it's generally just got YouTube on in the background, just
Yeah, that's like he just turned like the PS4 is not on that much anymore. If you're for Spider-Man, he fires it up for Spider-Man for a little while, but then he's back on YouTube for the amount of screen time that I give him. And yeah, it's incredible. And they require less stuff. That's why they're buying less toys and stuff. Yeah, because they're just watching YouTube.
Right. Well, that goes along with our comics discussion earlier too, is why they've had to shift the toy market more to the collector, because kids aren't out there buying toys anymore.
No, they'll watch the unboxing on YouTube.
Well, they don't really.
Yeah, they do. That's it.
Video games are as advanced as they are, and movies are the way they are, and kids have such instant access to everything right in their fingertips on their phone. Like I said, my kid will have YouTube running on one thing, his video game going on another, and then something else going on his laptop. It's like these kids already got 3 things going at once half time.
That's how I am. I have YouTube on my left monitor.
Who's got time to
get a video game on my right? No.
We got 2 hands, 2 eyes.
My kid will be playing a game, watching somebody else play the same exact game while streaming, playing this game with somebody else. It's like these kids got her down. It's like, how do you? I don't know.
Nah, that was our Christmas too. Like we had the oldest son home, and then the wife was on the iPad. Oldest son was on a PC. Youngest son was on a PC, and I was in here doing videos. Nice family Christmas there. We said hi to each other once in a while, though. We checked in.
All right. Well, we did have one good question, and I think we'll let Rob get to bed. Eric Kelly asks, now that the critics understand what the Orville is going for, tone-wise, do you think that they will have a better review score, or will it be season 1 all over again?
I think that it'll be season 1 all over again because critics hate Seth MacFarlane.
But CBS is a much bigger, powerful animal than Fox is. But guess what? Fox is now owned by Disney. So there is that factor. Now, I don't want to say that the good criticism that Orville could get isn't justified per se, but I think we may see a bit of an uptick in the positive notes from some of the critics, maybe more so because Fox is now Disney instead of it. They're just being nice to the show. But that's just because I think a lot of the negativity was predicated on the fact that CBS, and this is all my theory, so don't take this as anything like I have anything to back this up, was that CBS was pushing for the Orville to get negative reviews.
I agree with that sentiment 100%. And I would not be surprised at all if we see a big correction in, plus the public has spoken on this. It's funny. It is the Doctor Who. Last time I checked, it's the Doctor Who score flipped completely. It was the Doctor Who was down to 26%, and the audience score was the critic score was 94%. So for Orville, it's 93% audience, 26 critics.
Yeah. Well, all the critics know how to do is rate something on how diverse it is. And how do you rate diversity on the Orville when half of the people are covered in makeup as other aliens?
Yes, exactly. Oh, and there's a white male lead. So
that's had a diverse cast. That's right where I think it was more so CBS saying this cannot get good reviews because it'll overshadow Star Trek.
Oh, I agree with that. I think they have that kind of power, or they don't even have to say anything. I think a lot of people are just like, do I want to piss off CBS? Remember when Star Trek Discovery premiered and they had this premiere for for people on Twitter, for influencers on Twitter? I had a couple of people I casually knew through the comic store going, and then all of a sudden I see on my Facebook and my Twitter, I won't say their name, but I saw a friend of mine pop up saying it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm like, dude, you would not like this show. Come on, and it's like, but he said he liked it. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And I noticed that. And so maybe CBS was clever in that way. And they used to, and Les Moonves used to be a kind of a scary dude in Hollywood. He was right up there with Harvey, not Cthulhu, but yeah, I just think the media is they're selling out all their fans for gift baskets and fucking 480p DVD screeners and star access. And that's all they're in for, because they don't make any money. That's the thing, is critics used to, newspaper critics used to make money. They don't make money anymore. They get paid per article, and it's not much. Believe me, it's by the word sometimes, and it's sometimes it's like $100. And it's not even that much sometimes.
It's like all of us here in this group, and especially in Ed and Doomcock and all the rest of us, we're the last kind of vestige of that old school kind of journalism to where we're not going to be bought out.
Yep.
We don't make any money on doing this shit, really, but you can keep your fucking fancy.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like okay, for a screener or something, I'm not gonna give you a positive review for a fucking screener. You're gonna buy me a house if you want me to give you a positive
Straight
review.
up.
And they are not going to do that for any of us because they know they can buy every other Joe Schmo on the internet for a screener, and it's ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want a free DVD that bad. I can buy it myself. You know, I can cater to the fans who actually want to hear my actual opinion. But that's what they don't know. They don't know customer services anymore.
They don't. They don't. And thankfully, you know, most of them don't know where we are. And it's weird. I'm sure, you know, you've experienced this, Mead. It's weird finding out that a big entity has heard about you, and there's something a little intimidating about that. I mean, imagine how Anas Abdin feels. You know, that guy's got major stone balls for taking on CBS the way he does, because you know, they could you know, they could countersue. There is he's putting himself out there, so he must feel very confident about his case, and I think he does. That's the vibe I'm getting from the guy. But still, that's complete. A lot of people would not do what he's doing. So when you get you got banned from a Facebook group, but that CBS also knows about your videos. I'm pretty damn sure. Let's say 99% sure. That's weird. It's weird. I think they know. I think they know. I mean, listen.
You think they know, and that's all I can say.
There you go. Listen, if there's people out there who keep track of the brand, I mean, like, and if it's anything negative is being said, they can't do anything to you. They would love to try, but I listen, you know, my comic shop, I kept an eye on it. I kept an eye on negative reviews on Yelp and every chance I could, protecting my brand. So I think on a major level, if you're, you know, the other, listen, both your videos and on the big channel, they get hundreds of thousands of views. I mean, that's real.
Despite what a lot of people will say about us because of a lot of negative press. And I think that a lot of it could be, and obviously this is what I think. This isn't, I don't have anything to back it up. You know, there could be people out there who are spinning stuff, trying to say that we're fake news and all this other shit. But when you ask them to prove it, they back down because they can't really cite anything. And what they do pick on usually are very minute things. You know, but when we've been 95% of the time correct, and a lot of the other 5% could be up in the air to various possibilities as to why it didn't pan out that way, you can't fault us for that. Our percentage is pretty damn good. You know?
Yeah. We had some people in our chat early on trying to question that, and I asked them the same thing. And the thing I'll trot out every fucking time is the short treks. Can you see them in Europe? Why can't you see them in Europe? If all this shit is bullshit, how come you can't see the short treks in Europe? Then you must be right. You know, right. They don't feel like airing them in Europe. They don't. Everything has happened. You know, listen, if Star Trek Discovery gets canceled after season 2, then you're totally vindicated. So,
well, and we just had Robert Burnett today just said the same thing he's heard that we've all been hearing, and I'm sure you've heard yourselves over there at Nerdrodic from people, is that this Picard series is being set up as a replacement for Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah. Could we be getting? I'd almost want to get excited about it if we heard like Kurtzman was fired. What's this guy's name? Van Sitters takes over. I could almost be happy about Star Trek and just forget Star Trek. That would be so nice. I'm not believing it, but
because we haven't been able to really talk too much about the whole Kurtzman Van Sitters thing over at Midnight's Edge because we don't like to go with stuff until we get a lot of different sources on certain things.
Gotcha.
But a lot has already happened enough to where we can kind of say, and it's going to be a big part of the next video, I think. And there was a report that I think Doomcock did a while back that he had a lot of stuff in it that we've been hearing too. So I'm not going to say it's for certain, but yes, we've also heard rumors that Kurtzman may not necessarily have as much power and or be on the way out sooner than the 5-year plan.
It certainly looks that way. I mean, just as a person who's I don't know, has lived in the world and worked in corporate America. When you see somebody get a big 5-year deal to completely run the show, and then he's given an assistant all of a sudden, that usually doesn't go very well, especially, in the land of very big but fragile egos.
Well, and yeah, it's common. Like, look at the history of movies and television in general. What happens usually when somebody's brought on as a new go-between or an assistant, like you said, or a consultant or whatever, chances are that motherfucker's gonna get your job when you fuck up one more time. And let's be frank about it. Yeah, the one thing everybody kept bringing up that we were quote unquote wrong on was the whole con series, but we never said that was a definite. We just said we had heard rumors, and other people had heard rumors too. And a lot of what Nick Myers had told us was they were definitely ramping up to get this show ready, but at the last minute they decided it wasn't worth it. And he hadn't basically heard from CBS since.
They ghosting him.
Yeah, so it kind of solidifies that it was a plausibility at one time. Plus, SETI Alpha 5 was one of the titles that they copyrighted when they copyrighted all the other titles. So that doesn't necessarily mean that the project's dead. It just means that it didn't look like it was going to be the one they were going to need to use, and they were standing behind STD. But we have to remember, Moonves was a big proponent of this show, and he's no longer around. There's a lot of people that have had bad blood go on behind the scenes. Nick Myers confirmed to us that at one point they had no fucking clue who was in charge. That tells us a lot. That was the same shit I was hearing out of WB, and I'm sure you might even heard some too out of WB Nerdrodic, because I don't know how many connections you have there, where basically for the longest time it was like people running around with their heads cut off. Nobody was running the show. Nobody was doing anything. People were spending money left and right and making all kinds of crazy decisions, and nobody knew what was happening next until what's his face who you brought up earlier finally
Walter Hamada. Yeah, Joss Whedon came in and ran the bill up so bad. I don't know what he was doing. A little coke, maybe a little butt chugging. I don't know. But I just went through that with Tesla. We were like a headless monster for a while, and everybody when one of the big guys got fired. I'm not supposed to say this, but one of the big guys got fired. Everybody went with him. Every management person that he hired was out the door within a month of him getting fired. So, and that's what, Doomcock has said as much on his videos. You guys have said as much, and you guys know that's how it goes. Kurtzman was hired. He is one of Les Moonvis's guys. He will be gone. When? I don't know, but I don't know. I'm going to talk to my CBS source tomorrow.
Yeah. Let us know if you hear anything cool.
Yeah. The one who said he wouldn't talk to me anymore said he wants to talk to me again. There you go.
That's how this works sometimes, guys.
Yeah. Got a couple more subscribers all of a sudden. Oh, he found my phone number. All right. It's all good.
That or something changed.
Nah, we're friends. We were friends before. That's part of it. So.
Well, it's like I knew a lot of stuff about what we talked about earlier, but I wasn't allowed to talk about it because it hadn't been public to that point, and certain things now I could confirm, and I did, and I got permission from that person. And if you can do that, that's great, so, but not all the time are you able to do that. And sometimes you just got to go with your gut instinct. And that's where at Midnight's Edge, we always, especially in the main channel videos, obviously, I mean, here we talk a lot of bullshit. We talk opinion more so and stuff like that. But on the main channel, if we do a documentary on it or whatever, it's stuff that we've thoroughly researched. And we've got several sources telling us, not just one when we even report rumors. But that's generally the only time we'll even report rumor. I mean, there's tons of stuff we've sat on before that has finally gotten out there. And we're like, well, fuck, we could have made, got out way ahead of that. And we didn't. And it happens, but sometimes it's out of respect for somebody. Sometimes it's because you don't have enough to go on. But we never try to go out there half-cocked and just make shit up. That is never something we ever do. And that's one of the main things we hear, or I see people say about Midnight's Edge is, they just make shit up. It's like,
no.
Well, that's the same as them, as the media instructing their little kind of shill sites to say, fans are toxic. It's just one of these buzzwords to kind of put out there to get into people's subconscious to kind of discredit someone. And who can play that game? We can definitely find some way to kind of fire back at CBS for kind of for vilifying us and trying to discredit us. But
Yeah, and fans, which we are. That's what
Yeah.
I am. That's what Mecha is. Like we're and Tom, you are too. We're fans.
And Rob, I
We're-
think he's asleep.
he's a sleeping fan. Sorry, Rob. Where we supposed to go? Yeah, I should probably.
really
what?
tired.
Somebody say something.
We love you, Rob.
I'm old.
I'm
Well,
old too.
not only that, he's on the East Coast, so it's
Yeah,
almost 1 o'clock.
sorry. I had a cup of coffee before I started.
So did I. That was 8 o'clock. Oh,
yeah, poor old man Picard probably got to pee.
I already did.
Gonna change his diaper.
That's right.
Philip Ademic as pop quiz hot shot. What if CBS tags you to run the Star Trek project? What do I do? Me? I would hire these guys here and Doomcock and Ronald D. Moore.
Yeah.
And when oh my god, I'm forgetting his name. The guy's running the Expanse. When he's done with the Expanse, I get him and put them in charge because I can't write stories. But I want some of the money. I definitely want some of the money. So I'll take credit for putting the people together.
Thank you, cute nerd, for saying Midnight's Edge is amazing. The desperation to discredit you by your competitors proves it. Well, what's even worse is when they gotta put in their own news.
Yeah.
And you know it's got to get into their craw. And I'm sure that it bothered them, but with comicbook.com or whatever it is, when they had to do the story about us, you know, because we did the Nick Myers interview and all that shit, but they had
That's
to do it.
hilarious.
And, you know, we've been banned on all these sites and shit like that, but it's like, come on, guys, get with the program. Even with like a lot of the shit Robert said tonight, too. There's another person verifying some of the things we've reported in the past. We're not just saying this shit for our own fucking, you know, just to hear ourselves yak. We're not trying to create, you know.
Yeah. It's great because comicbook.com owned by CBS.
Yes.
Right here. Midnight's Edge and an interview with YouTube channel Midnight's Edge.
That is great.
So you're saying what? Who is fake news? Who doesn't know what they're talking about?
Look at all that porn on Mecha's thing.
Yeah, right. It's just Social Blade and
robot porn.
And you guys.
I was looking at
us.
I looked up unicorn porn. So I actually looked what Rob looked at, and I probably saw the same thing.
It's a thing.
Oh, that's a good. It is, yeah. It definitely is a thing. I'll confirm that.
We need to make a T-shirt now that says uniporn on it with a unicorn, but with a big old wang. But the wang, it looks like the unicorn horn.
Yes.
Well, I have my Derpercorn, but that was mostly to make fun of She-Ra.
Someday.
All right.
Don't get me started on She-Ra.
Okay.
I
think that's about a good place to end it.
We need to let Rob go to bed.
Yeah,
I tried to watch 5 minutes of that. I tried. It's so bad.
Of which one?
She-Ra. Well, I heard everybody talking about it. It's not anything I would ever have a desire to see, but I'm like, well, shit. I gotta go watch it now, and it's as bad as Mecha says it is. It's pretty bad.
It's a thing, Rob.
A Shrill Yelling, the animated series.
Yeah.
How did you get your powers? I don't know. I keep saying that.
Well, someone did write us a very lengthy comment to kind of talk to you a little bit about that, Rob. So you might want to read that tomorrow so you can comment.
I tried, but I really didn't feel
yeah,
like
well, you know, just out of respect for the fact that they did take the time, but we want to.
I understand that.
You know, Rob is so sleepy though.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I got to get going on my video too, so it's stuck.
All right.
Watch another episode of Orville.
All right, kids. If you like what we do, click the like button and head over to Patreon. We got all kinds of goodies for here. Click subscribe. Head over to Patreon. Patreon subscribers get all kinds of bonuses, early updates, news, outtakes, bloopers, lost episodes. Behind the Edge making videos and more. Support the channel for as little as $1 a month. Gary, tell them about your channel.
Hey, thanks. My name is Gary Beekler. I have the Nerdrodic channel. We talk about Doctor Who and we cover television. We cover a lot of good stuff like Counterpart. It's a great show. I'm going to cover that tomorrow. Please check it out if you have a chance. And thank you, Mead, for having me on.
Yeah, so thank you for joining us once again. It's been a while. We're glad to have you back. Congratulations on 17K, of course.
Thank you so
And
much.
congratulations, Mecha, on her recent milestone on, what was it, 13K now? You're going on 14.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
She's growing. That's awesome.
And Midnight's Edge had its own little milestone earlier today. We hit over 90,000
Oh, really?
on the main
Yeah.
channel.
I didn't check
On
that.
our way to
That's cool.
100K quickly. So let's try and hope that After Dark starts to pick up some of that momentum. I gotta eat here, you know. No, I'm just kidding.
Alright. So
Rob's
anyway,
gotta eat.
yeah. So yeah, ramen, lots of ramen.
Lots of
So so anyway, like I said, Mecha, tell them about your channel.
And I'm Mecha Red 42. I complain and I rant and I'm cute and I do a lot of live streams too. Yeah, I don't know what else there is to say about my channel. I don't compliment myself usually, but I have a lot of fun over there. So if you like me here, I talk more
You
there.
actually get to see her in person. Over
Yeah,
there.
you get to see me. I have the camera on and everything.
Same thing with Gary. If you want to see
Yeah.
Rob on camera, it's going to cost you.
Yeah, well, actually, we got that stand up I did. Actually, we're thinking about doing.
As I
something
said,
with
it's
that.
going to cost you.
I want to see
Got to pay
that.
double for that kind of action.
That was a setup, Rob.
Exactly, it's gonna cost you. So anyway, thanks everybody. Check out our friends. Check out. We're trying to get Captain April over 1,000 subscribers. He's inching his way up towards that. Check out Overlord DVD. Check Gary Beekler at Nerdrodic. Check out a bunch of people we like. Clownfish TV. We like them. Clownfish TV.
Yep.
JP over at Egotastic Fun Time. SC Reviews. Professor Geek. Professor Geek's got does some really good stuff.
Professor Geek is a
Captain
very
April
good
close
channel.
to that 1,000, so head on over there if you haven't checked him out yet.
We got to have him on too, Professor Geek. We really do. So he's an interesting guy.
Captain
A lot
April
of good
over
to see.
900 now. I just had
Captain
to say that.
April,
Of
yep.
course, yeah.
Mauler did
course.
a good video today on did good video on The Force Awakens.
Yep.
He's got that going on. Lots of good people. Actually, check him out on YouTube. And thanks everybody for joining us. Final words, Tom.
Rutabaga.
Gary.
Pineapple is my safe word.
Express.
Mecha.
Whammy bar.
And final word for me, I'll leave you with
again.
uniporn.
You stole that from me, you stealer.
Thanks everybody for joining us, and we will catch you next time.
I'm trademarking unicorn right now. Trademark unicorn. Tom Connor's Midnight Judge.